getting us moved from Zoom to Facebook. Nonetheless, welcome to our inaugural Sustain and Grow Summit. This evening, we have a packed lineup of speakers who will be taking you through some wonderful steps on how you can grow your business amid this COVID pandemic. We will be looking at things such as data management, how we can use the data that we have at our disposal to propel the business. Everybody's talking now about going online and using the online mediums. We will also be utilizing those forms of sharing simple steps that you can utilize to move your business online. And of course, we can't do any of this without finances. So we will be taking you through some steps as well of how you can raise some capitals utilizing your procurement methods. So we'll be sharing all of these steps with you and more. So it's a packed event. I hope you're ready. We will keep you energized as you learn this afternoon. Once again, thank you for joining the summit. Quick point to note, for all participants on the Zoom call, kindly for the presentations, you can share your comments in the comment section. Similarly, we'll be taking questions from persons on the Facebook Live as we're streaming live. We'll be taking questions from the Facebook Live and from Zoom. So share your questions, let us get interactive with our speakers so we can all learn and as we sustain and grow this afternoon. So our first speaker up this afternoon is none other than Mr. Corbin Hunt. So we're starting the ball off from the get-go. We're talking about how you can start raising capitals now, how you can get your business rolling now to move forward to the next step. So Corbin, welcome to the live. I'll ask you to take us through those procurement methods. How are you this afternoon, by the way?
I'm fine, Richard, and good afternoon to the rest of the panel. It's a pleasure being here. It's something that I've been doing for many years, procurement and supply chain. And while I've been in the background in supporting organizations, I think I have a key understanding of what is it that businesses would require to move themselves forward in a time such as this. The coronavirus, COVID-19, has changed the playing field for many businesses, both small and large scale, and many entities have changed the way they have now decided to do business. But I think we want to focus on the small to medium enterprise, because the bigger boys have all sorts of strategists in-house that can aid them in finding solutions, financial solutions, and ensuring that their supply chain is kept up to date to the point where they can maintain a market presence. Well, how can the small business and the medium-sized businesses do exactly that? Now, I would want to start by, let me share my screen with you. All right. My approach to this is procurement and leveraging your community and networking. And what I would want to ask persons is, how do you see yourself in today's market? The status quo has changed. you've been doing business for quite a while, but when you got into business, you came into business not to pay a few bills, but to meet a need or solve a problem. And now that things have changed, one needs to revisit their approach, dig deep into what is it that got you into business in the first place, and come out with new strategies and approaches that would allow you to maintain your market presence and not just survive, but to excel your business. The other question we want to look at is how and what is the market offering you as a supplier, and what services can you bring to the market? You've been doing one sort of supply or service, and specifically, let's say you were, for example, you were a vendor at a school, but that is no longer being offered because schools are closed. How can you use the same service that you have, or how can you diversify? And I'll talk about this a bit more, about what is it that you're offering and meet the market demands. I would want to say, I heard Miles Monroe once said that he was asked to give a talk at a forum, and everyone expected him to put on his CV or his presentation that he was a pastor or a reverend or something, and all he put was consultant. He said that to say that he was not boxing himself into anything, to say that, okay, all I know to do is prepare food, or all I know to do is to preach. I'm saying that I can diversify, I can see what the market needs, and I can, to the best of my ability, provide that service. As I said, the market has changed, and who's spending? Early in the game, we saw that the private sector closed up shop to a large extent, sent some staff home, but the government was still spending. As a matter of fact, government has in Guyana has and always been one of the biggest spenders. And I took some time off to go through the newspapers to see what ads were there. And even in the height of COVID-19, the government is still putting out bids. There was one from GWI, there's one from the Ministry of Agriculture, there was one from IDB, and there was one from the Ministry of Education. The point is, government and international organizations are spending. So one needs to take the time, look and see who's spending, who's asking, and see what services that you can still provide. I would want to also go on to what is your supply chain, and what is your supply chain network. Interestingly enough, I got an email last evening from SBT Japan, and my immediate reaction was, why would SBT Japan be sending me emails? Who's buying a car now? But as I read the email, SBT Japan has diversified and is now selling mist blowers, where it's a machine, a mist generator, sorry, that is, you put in, I figure it's alcohol or some cleaning solution, and it sprays on the person's body as they enter the building. So if SBT Japan can switch from cars to mist generators, we need to see what else the market is asking for, and we need to see what we can get into and continue within the market share. The question is, the next topic is, how can you leverage your current supply chain for new business? When last have you talked to your suppliers for whatever is it they were supplying? Maybe they're now offering something else, just like SBT Japan. And you need to now follow up with them to see what they can now offer you that you can now bring to the market. It's interesting to see how people have changed to meet the demand of the market and reshape their approach and to ensure that they keep a viable business up and running. I spoke earlier about the government being the biggest spender in this current market. And one of the things that the government requirements is a valid business registration, compliances, NIS and GRA. I know GRA had put some restrictions on early in the COVID-19 period about how you access their services, but I don't think NIS has changed. Use the time, get your compliances in order, get your business registered, and see how you can respond to what the government is offering. You will hear much more of an online presence. I also have a business, and I was surprised to hear from the United Nations office of, I think it's UNGA. It's a supply arm of the United Nations, and they sent me an email to see what is it that I can supply. So it is important to have an online presence. It's important to register with some entities themselves to see what they're offering, providing they have a robust supply chain mechanism set up. We want to talk as well about what has been your ability to seek out the current market and interface with your clients. It'd be nice to follow up with some of the people that you have worked with in the past and see what is it that they may be looking for. It is important that you reshape your approach. Usually you would have gotten a call or you would have gotten an email, but in this time, in this current dispensation, you now have to change your approach and ensure that you remain relevant and ensure that business continues, steady, continuous business for your organization or entity. We would also want to use this time as well. I found a Porter's value chain within an enterprise analysis, and it's it look quite complex at this stage, but basically what it says, one needs to sit and look at all aspects of their supply chain and their processes and see if you're operating a business currently and you're not suffering from downtime, how is it that your inbound logistics and your costs is affecting your ability to produce the services or goods that you require? How is your operation running? How is your outbound logistics, your ability to deliver and deliver on time? Your marketing and sales, your service, your quality of service, and what profit margin. So these are things that people can look at to ensure that they remain profitable in this time, as well as this is a more internalized approach, but a more outward approach and dealing with the market. One would want to look at, as I said, you might have been doing business. There might have been a few invoices out there that have not yet been paid. You can follow up with that to ensure that revenue continues to come into your business. As I have always been looking to see, as again, what the market is offering and who's spending and who's offering services. And I saw a advert last evening as well, where the Small Business Bureau is offering small business loans for small and medium-sized enterprises to ensure that staff continue to be paid, that businesses continue to remain relevant and meet their operational costs. So there are options out there. So moving from this supply chain option here, where you look a more internalized approach and look at your infrastructure, your human resource, your technology, your research and development, your online presence, and see what you can do. You can also make a more aggressive approach and seek immediate financing from institutions or entities that are willing to work with you in such a time. Networking and generating income, just to follow through from what I was currently touching on. You've been in business for some time. As I said, there must be a few online outstanding invoices or revenue that you can follow up on. You can increase your online presence, and this will be, I'm quite sure, will be expounded much more in the other presentations to follow. You can reach out to old clients and customers and possibly seek out new ones about getting new business. A more internalized approach. What is your plans for post-COVID-19? About how is it you will react to the market and reach the market and its demands? Your marketing strategy and the advantage of downtime. I talked about that earlier. Internalize, improve, and seek out funding from the Small Business Bureau. And last, think seriously about diversifying your suite of services. If SBT Japan can do it, you can. Don't box yourself in. Look out for new opportunities. Look out, this presentation also spoke to networking. You may have, Guyana is also into oil. You may have the local presence. Why not partner with somebody and meet with one of the requests for information or expression of interest, that the Center for Local Business Development has put out, and see where you can fit into that. You'll be surprised that you may find an external partner outside of Guyana who will be willing to come and work with you and provide funding and take your business to that next level, providing you, of course, you're an established entity. You have shown that you have internal organizational processes, you have an established bank account, that you have a business of what the accountants call of going concern, something that is reputable and decent for someone to work with. So this is my take on it, of ways and steps that one can look at generating business in the current market and remain relevant and continue to be a viable entity. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, Corbin. I think that was a mouthful in terms of the amount of opportunities that are still available today that we can tap in on. One of the things I'd like you to expand on a little more for us is in terms of, you spoke on the fact of if you're ready now to capitalize on the opportunities. Let's say a business who don't have their documentation up to date. They have been operational, but they don't have their documentation up to date. How exactly can they move forward in capitalizing on opportunities now, with the fact that a lot of the government services are working partial? So I may be registered, but my taxes aren't up to date or my compliances are not intact, but there are some opportunities that I can explore on.
I have responded to bids from the government where my compliances weren't intact, for instance, NIS, and some government entities are willing to work with you, even if you can show them a receipt that you have even submitted or applied for the compliance. I think GRA also gives you, there's a slip that they give you that you can attach to your bidding documents to show that you have submitted the relevant documentation for consideration for a compliance to be issued. So I would say, well, if you don't, there are two options. You continue as much as possible to have your documentation brought up to date. And the step above that is that once you would have submitted your documentation to GRA or NIS, they give you a slip or a receipt. That can be a part of your documentation to respond to a government entity. Outside of that, I spoke to partnering with someone who may have their documentation up to date, and that can be a step in accessing opportunities that exist. In saying, well, okay, okay, I don't have my documentation up to date, and then I'm just going to sit on my hands. Talk to somebody. This is all about networking. That person may have their documentation up to date, but they don't have the time to chase behind that particular request for services or goods. You do. So you work out an arrangement with them, you do the groundwork, and you come out, work out an arrangement where you guys can split the profits.
All right, thank you. Finally, you did raise a lot of information in terms of opportunities that are currently available. Can you share where we can go to find some of those opportunities?
Well, the daily newsprint is a very good opportunity. Is a good resource, sorry, to see especially where the government has within its modus operandi to advertise for its request for services and goods within the daily newsprint, all of the daily newsprint. That would be a definite good resource. There are some entities, I did mention that in my presentation, that it would be it would be good for you to register with the international organizations, so that or you check their websites, so they too themselves have procurement pages on their webpage. So you click on it and you see what opportunities exist. As I said, I had registered with UNGA, and they would send you emails seeking what is it they're looking for. And the one that worked for years before we even got an online presence is your network and your ability to keep talking with people who are in the know or who are moving and shaking, and they can say, hey, this is what's happening. Why don't you respond?
All right, great. Thank a lot, Mr. Hunt, for joining the call. And I hope you'll be sticking around so that you can also pick up some from the other speakers. But we were happy to get to pick a little from you so that we can be able to explore. Guys, if you're now joining the call, feel free to drop your questions in the comment section, both in the Zoom chat and on the Facebook Live. As you have questions for the speakers, we will be pulling your questions as well to ask the speakers. If we do not have the opportunity to get to all of your questions, we will make an attempt to get the responses to you. Next up, we have Mr. Ryan Passad. Mr. Ryan Passad is a digital entrepreneur. He is a globe traveler, to say the least. He's going to be taking us a bit through some of actually building on what Mr. Hunt was speaking about in terms of moving your business digital. Ryan?
Thank you, Richard. So my name is Ryan Prasad, and I am a coach, speaker, and mentor with the John Maxwell team. I am a digital entrepreneur, and I have traveled within the past pre-COVID. I have traveled to about 15 countries continuously. Every day was a different destination. I was on board a vessel at the time. I have worked in IT and entrepreneurship for over 10 years in a senior position. I've worked with the Ministry of Finance. I've even fight money laundering with the Financial Intelligence Unit. I've worked in the bush, flying in and out every week, and I've been at sea for some time. In all of these, let's say, dangerous and exploratory places, I find that technology is the key. Technology is the web that holds everything together. It's the enabler, accelerator, amplifier that allows the efforts of a single department to handle the workload of a country. With technology, there's something that comes called efficiency, being able to do more with less. Effectiveness, being able to perform better results with what you already have. These are the benefits of technology. And how I've seen it's being applied from the mining industry to the maritime industry is that it helps your business to save money, make more profit with less effort. It's very straightforward. So today, what I will be doing is sharing with you how you can move your business into the digital age. Let me just pull up my slideshow here. So there's several things that you can do in Guyana to move your business online into the digital space. Just 2 weeks ago, we completed a hack solve where many technology developers came together to find solutions that will allow local businesses and also the healthcare sector to use technology to their benefit. I'm going to share with you now how you can move your existing small business, medium business, or large business into the digital space in order to keep your business flowing, in order to make more money, and in order to strive and thrive within this pandemic that we're having. One of the first things that you can do is move to an online presence. You can either have a dedicated website, you can use Shopify, or you can even go simply advertise your products on Facebook Marketplace. What does that even mean? What is a website? Why do we even need it? If I put it on there, won't everyone see what is my product? Doesn't it mean my competitors can easily copy what I'm doing? No. If you look at the benefit of an online presence, it is there to give you 24/7 availability to your customers. Now, with the current lockdown, you can only open your business from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. 12 hours. What happens to the other 12 hours? Does that mean you're going to deprive your customers of your products? With an online presence, a website, Facebook, Shopify, or other means, or even an app, you can allow your products to be in the face of your customers. Let's say that I'm shopping for hardware supplies. Now, as a contractor or as a person performing the duty of building a house, I will need certain things. I will need screws, I would need bolts, I would need zinc sheets. Now, if you have that online presence, even when I'm home preparing the night before for my job ahead, I can find your products. I can place my order there with you. So what that allows me to do is save me the time of running around on Regent Street or on Lombard Street or other places looking and hunting for products and comparing prices. If I know you have what I'm looking for and everything is available online, sometimes I might be even willing to pay a slightly higher price if I can get everything in one space and have it ready so that my job can get done at the time that I need it to. So just looking at that example of using an online presence, a website, and having your products available can really benefit your customer. And to me, by not having that presence, you are really depriving them of that. Do not think about the negative. You're going to think, oh, I'm going to have to put up the full description of what my product is. But aren't you already doing that? Aren't you paying someone? Like if you're a Regent Street business or a small entrepreneur, aren't you already having yourself do that task of explaining your product? If you make yourself even available on WhatsApp, don't you have to reply to those messages? So what I'm saying is by having that online presence, you have that dedicated space to advertise. You can even run marketing and run deals and promotions there. Imagine that. You don't have to have that two-way back and forth one-on-one communication with every single customer. This will save you a lot of time that you can spend doing other things. Therefore, I really strongly believe that all entrepreneurs and all small, medium, and large size businesses, every business should learn to use an online presence. I've looked at the market space example, but what about posting articles? What about sharing nuggets of wisdom from your business? Where can you do that? Do you even have a Facebook page? If you are a hardware seller, won't you like people to know how your zinc is made or how your screws are superior to others? Won't you want to be able to have that ability and platform to present yourself distinguishingly from your competitors? Having that online presence allows you to post that conversation and leave it there. You don't have to go and explain everything to your people. I mean, it's nice to go into a business and someone can hold your hand and say, yeah, what you're looking for, these are the different screws. But what about if you enable that person ahead of time to know this information, to make that decision? So when they come, they're committed, ready, willing to purchase from you right away. Again, having that online presence really does that for you. So having an online presence is not enough. Point two, e-commerce and money. If you just have a website, or if you just like list your products on Facebook Marketplace, you list the price, but how are you going to get the money? You still have to meet that person and exchange. Let's say you're a restaurant. You know, I'm a little Chinese restaurant, or sometimes it might be a big Chinese restaurant looking little. I don't know. I always think that you're much more than what you have. But basically, how do you receive the money? You need to use services like mobile money, like checking credit card checkout. We might not have that, as I was discussing with the group in the Hacksaw. We're developing a platform for that. But in the meantime, use mobile money. You have these agents next to you. If you want to sell something, someone can buy from you and you receive the money in mobile money. It goes into your wallet. Think about that. You don't have to exchange cash. There's no risk now with you, with someone placing an order and you preparing that order for them ahead of time, and then you don't have that financial commitment to know that they're going to come and take this order and pay the money. You go through all that effort to pack that package and have everything ready, and they're not there. But if you have that option available for using mobile money, or thinking about e-commerce or electronic commerce of exchanging of money in that sense, you can create that commitment in selling your products. The next thing that can complement your online business with your e-commerce is delivery services. You can partner with Hero Carts, One Cart, and many other up and coming delivery services. Now, these persons will allow you to sell your product and have it delivered straight to the customer. They can collect the money on your behalf. But if you are already using mobile money, you can even have the customer pay you ahead of time and pay even the delivery cost to Hero Cart ahead of time, and have that convenience of receiving the money without even having the customer to come down to your place. You no longer have to open a physical presence. Absolutely. Now you can just sell everything online, receive the money online, and then even the delivery service takes it to the customer, having them fully satisfied and having you with more money in your pocket. Now that you've handled the logistics, financial, and marketing side of your business, you have to look at your workers. Because at the end of the day, you cannot do everything alone. No man is an island. You, as the owner of that business, need to keep your employees working in spite of the many COVID-19 lockdown scenarios that we have. Again, the curfew, which forces you to only open in work hours at certain time, but it doesn't mean that your employees don't have to stop working. You can still engage them from home. They don't have to come in. Actually, you are saving them, because why? They don't have to pay transportation to come to you. You also don't have are saving because you are not keeping a physical office presence. You're not paying keeping a rental of a space. You're not paying electricity. These are just simple things that you can do. Remote work, for example, through Zoom, there's a lot of Microsoft options available. If anyone would like to know about any of these products, they can contact me. Again, my name is Ryan Prasad. I can help you to set up this remote presence. There's also Team Viewer. I can do remote support. You can also have remote connection to your computer. Set up something called a virtual private network, where you can even print in your office from your home computer, or you can print in your home computer from your office computer. The possibilities are endless. There's so many things you can do. You can also set up camera systems to monitor your premises in terms of security, also using these options. I can say more in a future one-on-one session that we can have. Also, but most important, you as a leader, as a supervisor, even as a single individual, have to know how to cope in a crisis. As part of the John Maxwell team, I was witness to John, who usually holds his certification program every year in March, have to cancel it due to COVID-19. But what did he do? How did he demonstrate leadership in that crisis? He hosted an entire 3-day webinar series on how to lead in a crisis. So you can still maintain what you're doing as a leader. You have to cope with the unexpected. Everyone is looking to you. Persons are thinking, oh, I'm going to lose my job. I no longer have to be physically there. It's you, the leader, that has to take that innovation forward. You have to restructure your business. You have to take that responsibility. When it comes to responsibility, you are the person that has to look at what is needed, what are the consequences and trade-off, and do the necessary. Thank you. Richard, I would like to entertain any questions you may have now.
All right, thanks, Ryan. You really filled us with a lot. I'm now thinking, moving my business online not only increases my clientele, but saves me a lot since, hey, I'm sleeping, but the business is still at work. But for those smaller companies who may have a fear of moving their businesses to the e-platform, considering the recent instance we had with persons and a certain commercial bank here, where persons were having issues with monies in their account and monies being removed unknowing to them.
Okay.
What can they do to overcome that fear?
Well, in moving to any e-commerce platform, you have to look at trust. You have to look at integrity. And you also have to acknowledge the choice. Now, that company, that banking institution that I will not mention, is known for having issues. So if, like for example, if I'm going to walk on a bridge and I know that bridge has holes in it, am I going to walk on that bridge with am I going to drive a truck on that bridge? Am I going to put my business on that platform? Therefore, I will not use that banking institution. And by exercising that choice, I choose an alternative means to accept money. There is mobile money, for example. I can use that instead. I can force that institution to do what they need to do by depriving them of my business. So therefore, the choice is always yours. You can also choose not to put your business on the e-commerce platform, where you can still take the risk of using the rider or using the customer in person to change and exchange. But you have to look at everything in life according to choice and consequences. Therefore, if you choose not to use the e-commerce platform, what are the consequences of the same? Therefore, you have to now prepare mechanisms to receive money. Maybe you can set up pickup points and these alternative decisions, which comes with its own risks in itself. So therefore, you are already taking those risks. So if you move to this e-commerce platform and you're losing money and so on, you know that, then don't use that. Use something else. And if you go into mobile money and they have issues, you also have that choice of not to use that. So I think that in that decision of moving to e-commerce platform, you have to evaluate, is it going to work for me? Is it going to be of benefit to me? What are my risks involved? And therefore, I will make a decision from that point forward. Also, I'd like to tackle the part where you said of small businesses don't want to go online. Yeah. I see the risk. There's a lot of risk in the sense of going online. I had discussed some brief things about that. But think about this. If I don't want to go online, but if Joe next to me is doing the same thing I'm doing and he is online, what am I actually doing? If basically there are two phases in life, I'm either growing or I'm going down, because nothing ever stays the same. So if I am failing to make that decision to go online, my competitors will make that decision around me and I will be left behind.
Thanks again, Mr. Prasad. A lot of great nuggets that we can utilize. to move our business from point A to point B. And like we said, in this point of COVID, we're locked in. There is not so much we can do. Why not test new strategies and see if what makes sense? At the end of the day, let's see what makes sense. So our next step, guys, we want you to be a little bit interactive with us as well. We are going to be sharing a lot of new information with you this evening. We won't want you to get all boiled with all of the information. So we'll take a 2-minute break here where you can get some time to get a breather if you need to grab a glass of water or a snack. But also utilize the chat section, the chat box. Send us your questions, send us your concerns. Let us know if you would like further information from the speakers. We're also utilizing the chat for some networking for persons who need to have additional information. You would like to get in contact with some of the speakers or the businesses this afternoon. Share your information there. We'll be more than happy to reach out. The Survive and Grow Summit basically was put together to help business owners, such as myself, think of new opportunities. We're all in this together. If you check the newspapers daily, you're seeing businesses complaining about, we have to put these systems in place to fight COVID. We don't want to lose our employees. We're losing revenue. What are some opportunities that are available to you? Like Mr. Hunt alluded to in his presentation earlier, if a company as big as SBT Japan, who is known for cars and vehicle import-export, have pivoted. They have shifted what they're doing now, and they have implemented the new use of selling of hygiene supplies, hospital supplies, and other furniture. We've recently seen Facebook, and as of last night, Gmail would have introduced steps that you can now utilize meetings within their platform. So everyone is now exploring those alternative opportunities. As you are in this together, we're all in this together, what are some things you're really good at that you can explore? What are some alternatives as a business owner, as someone aspiring to become a business owner, that you can explore? Think of those opportunities. Let's take some risks. And as I've learned from one of my seniors, if we're going to fail, let's fail forward. Next up, we've talked about how we can procure, what we can do to procure. And we've also encouraged you to move your business to the e-platform. With every risk, we should be able to be knowledgeable of how we can protect ourselves against some of those risks. We don't want to just put ourselves out there without the ammunition to protect us. So we'll have Mr. Jai from A+ Computer Service speak to us about some of those cybersecurities that we can put in place to protect our businesses and our hard-earned investment when we're going to move to the e-platform. Mr. Jai?
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. So whether we like it or not, we are going to go online. And of course, there will be some risks of going online. You know, you should probably know about the steps you should take to stay safe online if you're doing it right or wrong. So let me just get my slide up here. Good. Now, we have put together a little presentation for you on how to be safe online, you know, cybersecurity, and straight into our first slide. What is cybersecurity? So cybersecurity is basically the techniques you use to keep yourself safe online, whether you're using password or a fingerprint scanner to protect your devices. Some people may use a retina scan. Some person may use facial recognition. So whatever you use to keep yourself safe, to protect the email address, your login. Now, how to create a strong password? Now, there you go. The last line there is actually what a strong password should look like. Now, strong passwords are actually, it should be a minimum of 8 characters in length, and use special characters. You're going to use uppercase, lowercase, numbers. If you notice in the last line there, the S becomes a 5 and the A become a @ sign. Okay? So please have secure passwords at all times when you're gonna choose a password for email or whatever it is that you have, whatever you're doing online, your social network passwords. Try your best to stay away from this here. A lot of people, please, I'm begging you, a lot of people use password as a password. That's actually a weak password. So don't use password as a password. And maybe people will tend to put password and then they put the date of birth. No, that's a weak password. The first thing that people would try whenever they want to hack your password is password and your date of birth, right? And in the coming slides, I'm going to show you how you do not use certain kind of password, how it easily being guessed. Now, this is a strong password. If you're ever looking to have a strong password, this is what a strong password looks like. You can use the dollar sign as the S. You can use the 4 as the A also, and 5 as the S also. So have a look there back at the strong password. Which brings us to the social engineering. Now, social engineering and why you are the biggest link is social engineering is actually the art of manipulating people to get their confidential information. Now, this is what people would do, or this is what social engineers would do. These are guys and girls that are highly qualified and they study people. Now, what if I told you if I can speak to you for maybe 1 week and figure out your password? Yeah, just 1 week or maybe less. Now, everybody has a particular slogan they like, maybe a movie, maybe a line from a movie. Maybe they have a TV series they like. Now, people tend to put password that they can easily remember. I'll give you an example. Now, I'm not picking on anyone here. For grandparents, their password for everything would normally be either their favorite grandchild, right? The name of the favorite grandchild, and their date of birth. Or it can be a mixture of maybe the eldest grandchild and the smallest grandchild and the date of birth, right? For the person them who are very religious, their password normally be something to do with scripture, right? Maybe a word. It can be maybe hallelujah and they did the birth. It could be maybe Jesus is Lord and did the birth. So what I'm saying is that you try to keep yourself away from password that people can easily guess. All right. I remember just maybe in the last year when they had the big Game of Thrones. When everybody was into Game of Thrones, you better believe it. Most of those person that watch Game of Thrones, most of them had some character that they liked from Game of Thrones, as their password with their date of birth. And these are these are things that people study. If people come and talk to you and they find that that you're into something, they will try different things. Now companies have lost revenue due to staff being negligent on the network. Staff will tend to write their password and put it on the keyboard, right, for everything. That's a no-no in any business. Ask your staff to give you to keep the password secret, secure the password. And companies actually lose clients like that, where a person outside would come in and guess password for them, and because of the lackadaisical attitude, there you go. Client has left and gone to another company. Good. So some steps in protecting yourself online. So you want to never give out your password to anyone, not even your close friend. It doesn't mean that you don't trust your close friend. It just means that, from my experience, I know that persons tend to type out all the password in Excel file and then email it back to themselves, right? So if you give your friends your password, let's say that they put your password in that Excel file and email it back to themselves, and for some reason their email account has been compromised and someone got to that file, it means that not only your friend will be compromised, but you also will be compromised, right? If you have to give password out to anybody for whatever reason, make sure you change it. Make sure you change that password as soon as possible. Okay. The other point is that you should always have a different email address for all social media accounts, right? Don't use the business account for social media. Don't use your, maybe you can use one that nobody knows, because that's what you should do. I'll tell you why. Now, it's very simple to hack or to get access to basically any social media account. What the little piece of information people would need is that particular email address that you use to create an account with, and maybe a copy of an ID card. As simple as that. So if you are using your business account for your social media profiles or accounts, you should not do that. Just maybe to change them as soon as possible, because it happened before. We tested this theory. We've tested this a lot of time with a popular social media site. I won't call name, and it works. It does take 3 days. It does take 3 days to get access to anybody's account. So again, keep your email address that you actually use to create the account, on a down low, private to you. No one should know about it. I have one that no one knows about, that we use for all my social media account, right? And you should never leave your device unattended. This one here is a big no-no. So do you know that people, if we need access to your pictures for some cell phones, we don't need to actually get into your phone. All we need to do is just take out your SD card and put it in another phone, copy over all the pictures or whatever that you have, or another PC, and there you go. People have access to your pictures and videos. So never leave your social media. Never give out your email account that you have on your social media, and never leave your device unattended. Because again, as long as that SD card gets out, it's in the public. Okay. Sensitive browsing should be done only on computer you trust, like banking. Maybe you want to do your banking, you want to do your shopping online. If you're using public computers, maybe at work, or if you're using computers in a library or cafes, you should stop, because most cafes, the owner of the cafes would have what you call key login programs that captures everything that users do, in case a user does anything wrong or hurtful to anybody, you have a record. Now the keylogin program actually keeps screenshots of whatever you're doing on the computer, and it records every single keystroke that the person would have done on the computer. So be careful to when you're typing in your Visa card number or your banking details in anybody else's computer, because you never know what people would have on the computer. Another point that I want to touch on, you should watch what you're sharing on social media. A lot of people would have have the tendency to go out and they take pictures and tag each other in a picture. And if you left on that location on your phone, you have what you call geotagging. That cell phone is gonna tag your exact location to the picture and put down social media. Now, what you're telling people out there is, if you're out of your house, let's say maybe midnight, you're catching a late movie, or you're catching some show. What you're telling people on social media that you're out of your house, you can go and take anything that you want. It's free to go to my home. Go and have a bar. You don't have to also be friends with anyone if you for them to know that you're out of your house. Because if you have a friend that you're tagging that photo, their friends can see, and also the friend of that friend can also see what's going on with your lifestyle. So you need to keep off your location on your phone if you want to do like real life tagging of posting pictures, or you can take pictures out at the destination and come back home and do your posting if you have to. And also the last point, how to protect yourself, is we always think that we can be compromised. That what will people want with us anyway? There's always something that somebody wants from you. So never think that you can't be compromised, right? Always keep ahead of the game, right? If you're browsing online, and there are a few things that you should know about. Just make sure that you at the top of your browser in the address bar has the green or yellow padlock that's locked, right? Not the one that's in red, that's not secure. It means that those sites are not secure for you to enter any credentials, any banking details, any credit card information. Don't do it. Just make sure that you have the site that says it's secured. And at the top of your website should not have the HTTP protocol, right? That there is, if you see that there, it also means that anything that you type into that site would go in plain text. All the credit card number, everything can go to someone who is snooping on the network in plain text. There's no need to decode that and so on. This is the one that you would need to look for whenever you're browsing any site, whether it's your banking site, whether it's your social media site. Just make sure that you are browsing using a secure HTTPS protocol, and the padlock is always secure. Data across this network is encrypted, and it's very difficult for them to also get access to your information, right? Again, not this one, but this one, right? So let's take a look of someone cloning our website, right? Let's take a look how you are going to differentiate what is a clone website from the original. So this is our actual website, right? One is our actual website. This is one slide I have here with two websites, but how are you gonna know which one? Because what scammers do, scammers would create a domain name that's as close as possible to the site that they want to clone. And what they also would do is they will have exactly the homepage for the site. And when you click on the link, it looks like the site that you want to go to. Maybe it's a backend site. But what they will do is it's actually a totally different or fake site. So always verify before you import data into any site that claim that someone is trying to get access. I don't know if anybody ever got email it state that someone is trying to get access to your Facebook account or to your banking account, and you should click on this link to secure it. Now those emails should be scrutinized. You should look at those emails carefully, and check them. Make sure you check the domain name. If you need to contact the bank, maybe you can contact the bank or whoever you need to contact. So yes, they will send an email stating something like, someone is trying to access your account to secure the link, to secure the account. Click on the link, right? This is how most banking details get out. So as you can see on the screen there, that is the fake site that was created for our page. Now our actual website is actcgy.com, and the fake site, they have added an extra G to the gy.com there. See there? So that's how it's easily been done. And someone may think that they're onto our site, they sent you payment, they they check you whatever it is, and that's how you can actually lose your money if you don't be careful, right? Always look at the domain name, right, in the address bar. Take your time, look at what you're doing before you click on any link. Also, if you click on any link whimsically, most times automatically it starts to install keylogging program or malware, and those programs will actually send out all the data and information on a PC to the public or to the person that want to get access to them. Right, so that's the fake site right there. Let's find out who's tracking you on your cell phone. If you think someone might be tracking you on your on a smartphone, there are a few things you can do. You can type in the code at the top there and hit enter or call. Star pong 21 pong. That actually give you a menu on your phone that looks like this here, that tells you if someone has been forwarding your calls to their phone, your data, your voice, your SMS, right? So these are little things you can try on your at home. Try the code on your phone. For the digital user, the person who with digital, I think digital will have you may see your call when you forward it to a number. Just verify that that the number that digital have for voicemail. For GTT, well, they don't have any calls forwarded to any voicemail. And the other code you can type in is star hash 06 hash. That code tells you the IMEI number, the IMEI number of your phone in case your phone got lost, right? In case you lost your phone, you can actually shut down or call the provider that you're with, and they can shut it down for you, or you can probably I don't know how you can get it back. So blocking the social media, adult websites, and so on from your children, from staff on your network, it's too long for us to go to. So I have given a link in the I'll put a link in the chat for you guys to get all the details, all the step-by-step illustration. We've done that for you. How to go and block the sites from smartphones, iPads, whatever it is they want to block from. Maybe it's your kids, maybe your staff member, them, or maybe from the entire network. Who knows, right? So most times you find that person claim that, oh well, I think a lot of people have my password and I don't know how they get my password. Well, most time when you buy a modem from the provider doesn't change the default. As a matter of fact, you can't change the default. What they do is that for the password, they will use what you call a MAC address. The MAC address on any device is unique to that device. No one else in the world can have the MAC address. So the manufacturer probably say that, what, let's put that as a password. So by putting that as a password, what hackers do, or what people will normally do, all they need to do is download a simple app that's called Wi-Fi Analyzer, right? On the smartphone. When you run the app on the smartphone, it will scan the area and give you all the Wi-Fi around the place. Now, the DSL the DSL Wi-Fi there in red, that circle in red, most times they use the MAC address as the password. So that's in plain sight. The app shows you what is the password for that the router or that wireless device. So if you notice again, people are on your network, or you notice it's considerably slow and it's really slow than normal, you can check. I've also provided in the slides that I'm going to share with you just now how to change that that password for Wi-Fi. Okay. Most time, if your provider has the defaults in the router and it can't be changed, then what you need to do, you need to disable that old router and connect a new router to that one, a third-party router to that one, and use that one instead, the one that you can change anytime you want, how many times you want. Okay. So you can also take a look at that. If you run a Wi-Fi analyzer program and it matches your password there, most times the first two value may be 2 zeros. If that doesn't work, the second two values just normally change to 2 zeros. You can put that in if you want and test it, right? Of course, yes. You change your password. So one thing that I have noticed in this time that's going wrong now is a lot of misinformation online. You know, people just share whatever they feel they want to share. You know, they don't verify the information if it's true or not. I just came across one like literally half hour ago, so I'm going to share with you how people sharing misinformation can actually cause disharmony in a country or in a community. Okay, so most time when people share unverified information, it's meant to cause disharmony. You know, so you can just verify what you share. You know, it probably would take 15 minutes to ask. You know, hey, is this thing true? Does it come from a reliable source? Is it from actual media house? Or just somebody say that this happened and then you post it, right? So this is what I came across half hour ago, or an hour ago maybe. This year is like really it's hurtful that it's happening. You know, so just be careful of who you share. And this is going like wildfire. Actually, it's going from wildfire. I got it from someone who I thought would never share these things on Facebook. So we need to be careful of what we share online. You know, take that responsibility of not causing any discomfort in any person. Remember, whenever you share anything that's unverified, any information that's unverified, you're actually taking a blow to your character. You know, you're actually people would not see you as a reputable person to get information from. So we just don't do it, and stop. Stop automatically pressing the share button for everything. Yeah. Your action can also cause somebody their lives. Just keep in mind that our action, on social media especially, we have some people out there who don't really go and check what's true or what's false, and you can stop sharing. Stop sharing things that are not verified. And that brings us to the end of my little presentation, Richard. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you everyone for being here.
Hey, thank you, Jay. One other thing that popped out to me as a business owner, I'll ask, what would you say is the recommended frequency for a business owner to change their Wi-Fi or their account's password in order to maintain that security?
Yeah, every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks. I know if you have a server, if you have a server and the network, it actually forces your staff to change every 2 weeks. You can actually set how many days you want staff to change password. Maybe it's every 7 days, every 8 days, every 2 weeks. You can install something there that tell them, a reminder that you can change it. For some places, if they have servers, if they have what you call network servers, the server actually it will allow you on the network until you change the password. it reminds you 5 days before, it's time for you to change password and you change it. So yeah, every 2 weeks is fine for an entrepreneur. Actually, anybody every 2 weeks is fine to change the password.
And would you recommend the business owner to use the same password across accounts?
No, no, no. No, that's action for trouble right there, because you may forget that password in somebody's computer. And there's a way actually in Google Chrome that you can go back to every site you visited, and people will have access to the password they type in. There's a way that Chrome actually syncs every single password and every single site that you visited across devices. So yes, if anybody has access to your laptop, to whatever it is, they check Chrome and they review the password, then yeah, you actually are gonna put yourself at risk there.
Right. Again, thanks, Joy. A lot of useful information. I think you got a lot of people rethinking some of their internet ethics, and they may want to revise some of those practices. Thank you again.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Take care.
All right, guys. So next up, we'll speak to Mr. Rock. He's gonna speak to us now about how we can maximize our resources. Remember now that we are in lockdown and things are a bit edgy with each business owner, getting the best out of what we have is simply something that can be frustrating from time to time. So Javon is going to take us through how we can get the best out of our resources. Mr. Rock is a business consultant by profession, and he spent a lot of time in assisting businesses to grow and get more for less. So, Mr. Rock, all over to you, sir.
Hi, a pleasant good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah.
So, as Richard said, my name is Javon Rock. Today, I'm privileged to discuss with you how businesses can maximize their resources during this period. Tobin Robin said it's about your resource. It's not about your resources, it's about your resourcefulness. And as a successful manager and a budding entrepreneur, this very statement became a reality in the midst of not only our company, but those around the world had to adjust in this epidemic to ensure that we maintain our market share. So what I'll do, I'll begin sharing my screen so that we can go through the presentation. All right. So what I did today is to put together my top 3 steps to maximizing resources and minimizing risk. Now, during this period, you may ask yourself, what is it that I really can do to be able to analyze the situation and make the best insights that suits my business that would allow me to come out on top after this whole season with the fast? So, my first step is reflect on areas of success and opportunities. Now, this would give you a perfect opportunity to look at the highlights and the lowlights, and it can also help bring fruition to what would have been a catalyst or inhibitor for the success of your business. Now, this can be done through looking through your KPI performances for the last 6 to 12 months and comparing this data. What we would have found doing this for our very own company is the things that we've done previously cannot be done now because of the circumstances, the way we interact with our customers, the way we deliver our services. All of these different things need to be taken into consideration. So why wait when you have the perfect opportunity to assess your situation. For some companies, due to the type of services that they're offering, they may be currently experiencing downtime. So think about new and creative ways in which your businesses and the services and the products that you have to offer can now reach those in need and that of your customer base. And then in doing so, we want to be able to look at step two, which is assess and restructure your workforce. This allows managers and business owners to unfold hidden talents from their employees. The key is to encourage new idea incubation and innovation. Now, in doing so, you allow your employees to build a sense of assurance, build a stronger relationship, and bond with you as the manager. A lot of times, our employees may have hidden skills and talents that we may never even know about. So, this can be discussed during an appraisal session or even on a one on one or even a virtual cup of coffee. But merely assessing the situation is one thing. What do we now do with this information and how we can now benefit our business is the question as business owners we now need to ask. If it is that you see that your staff has a particular aptitude for graphics or leadership, what you can do is lead them in the right path. There's online courses offered by educational forums such as Allison, where they would be able to now develop these innate skills. So once it is that your business is able to reform and restructure itself, they can now even assume new roles with their innate skills or to be able to create new arms of services and products for your customers. Now, how great can that be? The third step is working towards SMART goals. Now, you might ask specifically, what is SMART and how is it that it can help my business? SMART is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Therefore, a SMART goal incorporates all of these criteria to help focus your efforts and increase the chances of achieving the goals so desired by your business. And who wouldn't want to achieve their goal amidst of everything that is happening during this period? So you might ask, how do I integrate a SMART goal or criteria into my business? Well, your goal should be clear and specific. As you would have heard, specific is the first point. How then can you be able to incorporate this particular item into your business? Well, you need to ask yourself a few questions. What do I want to accomplish? Second, why is the goal important? Another key point is who is involved. And the one that I love the most on this particular section is where is it located? Now, given the change in the industry and the times, location is now more important than ever. Are you consolidating your product services through one forum, or are you now creating and looking at new ideas that you can now incorporate those clients that you never had a chance to? So looking at developing opportunities and identifying what can help your business to be more specific is the first step. Now, the other opportunity is if it's measurable. It is important to have a measurable goal so that you can track your progress and stay motivated. Assessing progress helps you to stay focused, meet your deadlines, and feel the excitement of getting closer and closer to achieving that goal of yours. A measurable goal should address such questions: how much, how many, and how will I know when it is accomplished? When you have the data, or in the corporate world, we would say KPI, which is known as the key performance indicators to be able to assess your performance and to see if it is that your business is really reaching not only its innate or business goals, but if it's reaching the goals of that of your customers. And then if it is that it isn't, you now need to look and re-ask yourself these questions: how much, how many, and how will I know when it is accomplished? So the tip here is to do incremental stages of measuring your business. So you can do 1 month, you can do it quarterly, or you can do it by the year. But given the current period, you should do a month over month assessment to track to see how far your business has come from where you would have previously started this particular point. The second is your goal achievable? Now, setting a goal is one thing, but is it realistic? Is the question you need to ask yourself. In other words, it should stretch your abilities but still remain possible. So, in order to do this, you need to ask yourself an additional set of questions. How can I accomplish this goal? And most importantly, how realistic is the goal based on the other constraints such as finance and other pending factors? Like our company, a lot of businesses are now pursuing cost saving initiatives. So, being able to achieve something, you need to take every single variable into consideration. The next point is it relevant? Considering everything that is happening, this step is to ensure that your goal really matters, not just to you, but to your customers. And it aligns with everything that you have put in place thus far to achieve this goal. We all need support and assistance in achieving our goals, but it's very important to retain control over them. So make sure that your plans drive everyone forward, but you are still responsible for achieving your own goal. So doing things like building your own portfolio, adjusting your skill sets to be able to meet the market need are all things that you can do during this period to be able to set you on the right path. A question I would ask myself if it is that I am considering this relevant criteria or this relevant point is it applicable in the current socio-economic environment or the environment in which we live and operate? The last but most important point is to have it time bound. Every goal needs a target date so that you have a deadline to focus on and something to work towards. This part of the SMART goal criteria helps prevent everyday tasks from taking priority over your long term goals. So you need to be very specific on when and what can I do within the next 6 months and what can I do today to be able to establish my presence in the market that we have. So just to give a quick recap, the ways that you can maximize your business, the first step is to reflect on your areas of opportunities and success and be able to consolidate that information to derive and understand if you need to change your current assessing criterias and figure out what really structures companies that not only unlocks their innate potentials, but help you to understand those capabilities that your employees have that you aren't aware of. And the last is to make sure whatever it is that you're doing, you do it smart and incorporating the criteria and the structure of this particular item to be able to maximize your business and your potential for this industry. So thank you, and back over to the presenter.
Thanks again, Mr. Rock. Lots of interesting tidbits that we can utilize. I think some of these things are things we take for granted in terms of exploring our employees' potential and ensuring that they can do their best to help the business grow. Now that we're considering the COVID situation, we know normally when we set goals in our business, we focus on the long-term goals. How would smart goal setting assist me now in allowing me to overcome and grow during this Corona season?
Well, that is a very good question. In order to be able to develop and to be able to attain such goals, I know this is kind of cliche, but it's one of my favorite movies, Spider-Man. Uncle Ben told Peter Parker, with great power comes great responsibility. But the same thing applies within this same notion. You must understand, to be able to integrate and make anything successful, you must understand the foundation and the basis of which you're doing it. So this particular criteria and this particular method really helps bring fruition of the smaller pieces, and it helps us to not only improve on our managerial aspect, but it brings out those innate nature that may have been locked away and we didn't even know we would have been able to apply to our businesses. And it now gives business owners the sense of assurance that I have a plan to be able to not only produce but measure what I'm doing based on something that is tested and tried. A lot of Fortune 500 companies and major entrepreneurs use this smart criteria to be able to help them to analyze and push their business forward. So I'm sure it will help those that are looking to incorporate certain strategy.
Great. And I also like the fact that you did mention now that we're home, we have the time to get those things done and free education is available. How would you best advise business owners who find something else to do with their time to make best use of all these free educations?
That is a very good question. Now, I myself would have been caught in the Netflix era where I'm now catching up on a lot of films. But it's important to manage your time effectively. One thing that I found that not only hindered myself, but a lot of businesses is not being able to look and assess the time that is given. We all have the same 24 hours, but it's what we do with it is most important. So it's okay to have some leisure time and it's okay to be able to focus on areas of your business, but personal development is key. These courses are geared towards bringing out the best in a particular area. And one thing I do love about them, it's time sensitive. So depending on the area that you're doing, it's broken up into different series, and you can even track your progress. So not to worry. Once it is that you can incorporate it into your day, it will allow you to be able to not only manage your resources, but manage your time better. And the thing that really stands out is if it is that you're able to incorporate it now, when the time comes down the road and you have to make similar adjustments for your business, it would be key at that point because you've already had the experience on how to adjust given to improve your overall self and your business.
All right, thanks again, Mr. Rock. Now we're gonna move smoothly along. Just to recap, guys who are now joining on the call, we would have touched on topics such as procurement, speaking about some of the things you can do now, some of the opportunities that are available now. That it may be a bit different from what you're doing, but you can look at opportunities to partner with some companies or look at those new opportunities that are within your business skill set that you can make the most of to get to utilize and get the best out of those opportunities. We also touched on the fact that times are changing. Now we have time in our hands. Let's look at taking our business onto the e-commerce. We have a broader market available to us there that we can utilize to grow our business opportunities. We can still earn while we're asleep. And if you're going to be an e-commerce, you need to be able to maximize on the best security options to ensure that you don't put yourself at risk. So we covered those and just recently completed how we could utilize, make the best use of our resources that we have available. Now, Mr. Augustine is going to take us through customer service during this period. We know with the COVID-19, things are a bit difficult. Things are not what we're accustomed to. How do we best serve our customer during this time? What are some things that we can do to ensure that our business don't stay stagnated and our customers don't feel like we're shunning them? Mr. Augustine.
Very much, Richard. Thank you for the opportunity to be a part of the panel and share with the audience. So today we are going to deal with customer service, a topic that some of us appreciate and some of us don't always appreciate from time to time. It's good when we have customers because we know that somebody is interested in the goods or service that we are offering. It means that we are making a profit, which is why we get into it. But sometimes we all know that it can be difficult. So I hope that my presentation today will remind you of some nuggets that I'm sure that we are aware of, as well as broaden your knowledge base in terms of some new ideas. This time gives us an opportunity, and I realize it is being echoed, to change or reinvent, reshape our image. Just to remind us that customer service is to assist, to provide assistance to our customers before, during, and after they would have consumed or utilized our goods or services. And it's very important that we remember that it's not just about a customer utilizing our goods and services, but we also need to do follow-up. And this downtime presents that opportunity for us. Who should be targeted during this time of COVID? And I would want us to think about targeting absolutely everyone. Everyone who, or anyone, is important to the growth and development of our business. And this, yes, means both our internal and external customers. Our internal customers in terms of our employees, those under our care, whether you are a manager, supervisor, or you are the business owner. We need to remember that these are persons who will be aiding us in the success or the continued success of our business. And from time to time, we may focus on the external only because those are the ones bringing in the money. But we miss and forget what is being done by our staff members or members of our team, how they contribute to attracting this external clientele. And that is for us to keep within our minds. As managers, as leaders, as business owners, have a responsibility not only to your external customers, but you have a responsibility to your internal customers. As this coach is shared here by Roy Bennett, always find opportunities to make someone smile and to offer random acts of kindness in everyday life. Those of you on the call who may know me, a lot of my experience would have come from the field of youth development and community work. And one thing I pride myself on in doing so is I understand the value of customers. And I think I would have only been very successful at my job because of the relationships that I would have built with the communities that I work in, the people I work in, with the youth that I work with. I have gotten a great appreciation of understanding them and therefore tailor whatever initiative I am working on from time to time, maybe a different mandate. So currently it's in the field of crime and violence, but I have worked in development in terms of voluntary as well as paid. I understand what it is that young people want, what it is that this community wants, what it is that people want. So One of the key things I often tell people when they think about politics and politicians, yes, we all want results. So I don't want you to misinterpret my next statement. We all want results. We want things done. But what I have noticed in working with people, people care more about the fact that you care about them and their needs. So if in all my years of working, I have recognized, even if I attempt and I fail, people appreciate the fact that I'm attempting to assist. People appreciate the fact that I care enough to try, even if I fail, because they recognize that the failure in that effort is outside of my control. And it puts me a step above others who don't even take the opportunity to understand and appreciate what the needs of their clients are. And this is one thing we need to keep in mind as managers. Yes, this is downtime. Yes, your business may not be making much revenue now. It's stressful on you as a business owner. But your internal clients and your external clients still need to feel that sense of, I care about you. So it's not about throwing your hands up in the air and saying, you know what, I'm not making any profit now. I do not know how to assist my internal clients or even my customers because I do not know what tomorrow holds. And none of us know what tomorrow holds. That doesn't mean, however, that we should sit back with that. We need to plan for it nonetheless. Why is customer service important at this time? One of the main reasons is that COVID is not here to stay. In terms of this current situation will not last forever. It may get better in some cases, or in some ways it may get worse. But however it goes, we need to recognize that we need the members of our team. We need the members of our team to provide that emotional support, to provide ideas, to help us through this. Many hands make the work lighter, is often said. Everybody, no matter who we are, we like to be considered. As the owner of the business, as the supervisor, as the manager, you want to know that somebody is looking out for your best interests. We want to know that our governments are taking our concerns into consideration when they're making decisions. Some of them might be hard decisions and are affecting our pockets and are affecting our plans for 2020 and beyond. But we still want to know that, listen, in spite of these laws, these policies, these new normals, as these terms are being bandied about, somebody cares about how I feel inside out. Yes, we need to social distance. Yes, I may need to close my business, but I would want to know that our government cares about us. I would want to know our leaders care about us. So as managers, as supervisors, and as managers and supervisors, yes, we understand it may not be your business, but you also have a role. Because if things go back as normal as possible, you will still need the persons within your team to assist you in success. And this is the time that they will be looking at you as they were looking at you when we were face to face in the same office, in the same department. You were named manager or supervisor of that department for a reason. And people will continuously look at you for their support and guidance in this time. So don't think because you're home, and we understand that you may be dealing with your own stresses, your own problems, your own issues, but they still need to feel that, okay, Atto is going to reach out to me and give me some form of comfort, some word of encouragement. We'll get to that in a bit. This is a new experience for everyone. We must remember that. So it's not that it's new only for the employees or the employers or the managers or the supervisors. As we would have all heard, I'm sure, social media and otherwise, this is affecting us internationally. And this is a new experience for us all. So it provides this opportunity for us. How can my business practice customer service with all these restrictions that are being placed upon us? Once you keep your team engaged, this is an opportunity for you all to brainstorm. This is an opportunity for you all to think outside the box, come up with new ideas. Persons need to know, so many persons within this time are not being paid, so many persons have lost jobs. Connect with your people. Let them know that you are thinking post-COVID. You are still thinking, okay, I may not be able to pay you for the next 2 months, 3 months, 1 month, 2 weeks. But I'm thinking post-COVID. I am still interested in your service. We are still in this together. What ideas do you have? How can we be creative in our approach? How can we still make money? How can we still reach out to our clientele. In doing this, you remain connected with them. Persons need to know whether it's a WhatsApp in the morning, a cell phone call, remain connected to your customers both internally and externally. If depending on the size of your agency, you delegate persons to do things within specific time. So you as the business owner may not want to do this on a daily basis, but you can have your supervisors, your managers, your team leads do stuff. Reach out to your membership. Let them know that we are here and we care. Give information. It may not be information that is vital to your area of business or expertise, but there's information given to us by WHO, World Health Organization. There's information that is given to us by our governments. Share this information so persons know that, okay, my boss is thinking about me, how to deal with your children who are home from school in this time of COVID, how to deal with stress in the family, how to deal with financial crisis, budgeting, starting a kitchen garden, doing creative things, having fun as a family that now that you can't go outside. A lot of restaurants are closed. Taking all these things into consideration. So you care in simple ways. This is an opportunity. If you didn't do it earlier on, this is an opportunity, as I said in the beginning, for you to recreate and reshape your employees and your staff's perception of you. Show them that you care. And think about the needs of others. Thinking about the needs of others and yourself also provides business opportunities. Personally, when I sit back and I look at all the business opportunities that are before us now, in terms of growth at certain time, the elderly being affected more by this pandemic, it's the opportunity for us to provide a service to these people who may not be able to leave their home or may be more at risk. If they do have stuff delivered to them like groceries, let's be creative. This time provides an opportunity for us to get answers even within the problem. When we think about our personal needs and needs of others, it creates new business opportunities for all of us. And there brings me to the end of my presentation. It all starts with us analyzing the situation that we are in, remaining connected with our clients, showing them that we care and looking for the opportunity. But to you, Richard, thanks again. I'm open for questions.
Thanks, Otto. You really had me thinking there in terms of what we're doing and how we're caring for our people during this time. One of the first things I'd like to ask you is, if my business is making little to no money at this point, do you recommend I should still need to invest in customer service?
Definitely. Very good question. And that is a concern of a lot of business places. I'm closed, I'm not making an income. Why do I need to remain connected to my clients? Because as I would have said in the presentation, COVID is not the be all and end all. There is life after COVID. There are lots of free technologies online that we can use, and you would still want these people to be loyal to you. And people, as human beings, more so within this region, we are connected to relationships. And this is an opportunity for us to broaden that. So why just think about Guyana? Why are we only thinking about Trinidad and Tobago? Why are we only thinking about Barbados? We all are very unique. What unique experiences, goods or services can we extend? There are some things that are very cheap in terms of products in Guyana that we pay a lot more for in Trinidad. How can I get into that market? How can I meet new customers? Because now most people are doing their purchases online. Most persons have to meet their orders. You get an opportunity to create new clientele, meet new people.
Great. But as an owner, I'm experiencing some of the same challenges that my clients are having. How do I overcome that and still focus on the customers?
Yes. And it's like a parent. As parents, or as a guardian, adult, a grandparent, or if we look at other parents within our family, at this time, this new situation can be stressful for us all. But in distress, we can't watch our child and say, okay, why are you harassed? Oh, we shouldn't. I shouldn't say we can't. We should not watch our those that are within our care, or even the elderly, so it may not only be a child, and say, listen to me, I am feeling the same pain you are. I am just as frightened as you are. As the adult, as the leader in the home, as the manager of the business, in spite of how you feel, you have the opportunity to rise above. So in spite of, yes, you yourself have to look for support mechanisms, but you also have to remember as leader, as manager, as supervisor, as business owner, you have a responsibility to your clients. And while you may be experiencing it, you deal with it. You find mechanisms, support mechanism, probably among your leadership team, probably among your family, your religious institution, whatever it takes. But it doesn't mean that you push those under your care aside.
All right, thanks again, Mr. Augustine. Lots of great info that we need to consider as we're moving forward and making the best out of what is available to us during the season. Guys, I can say I've learned a lot thus far in this call. I am willing to test some of these strategies for my businesses as I move forward. I am hoping that those on the call are about to try at least 2 new things. Now that we're home, we're in lockdown, businesses are going slow. What will it cost us to try at least 2 new things to help us generate during this time to see if it's going to bring a different results that we can able to propel our business growth? Next up, we have Mr. Boyce. Mr. Boyce is a marketing professional, and he's been doing this in excess of 15 years. He will be taking us through advertising and marketing. We'll be looking at it from the point of improving our visibility and connecting with our customers and our clients. Riyad, you with us?
Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me. It's as you mentioned, I have a marketing and advertising company. We've been doing this for a while. Today I'll be sharing some tips with you on how to. There we go. So is the screen up?
Yes, we're good to go.
Great. Yes. So as you mentioned, we are going to be touching on how to increase your visibility. And with that in mind, I'm going to just share an overview of the topics. I know Mr. Augustine did a great job of touching on customer service, but we are going to also touch on customer care, which has a dimension which is important to marketing and advertising. You also should know, as a small, medium business, your potentials of your business and your limits, very important. And of course, how to improve your visibility of your product and service. As Mr. Augustine mentioned, caring for your customer is important. Customer service generally has an impact on your business. As a matter of fact, a satisfied customer could be your best PR and marketing, and a dissatisfied customer can equally be devastating to your image. So it's very important to treat your customers with care. That also includes your immediate environment which your businesses operate, your internal image, your lighting, your environment, how clean it is, if it's sanitized. So caring for your customer in that regard is important. Your quality of your product is very important also, because people are here, they're giving you their hard-earned money, so they expect a good quality product. And I think an important part of customer care is giving back to your customers. And there are many ways to do this, whether it's through a novelty item, a pen, a keyring. It can be through a number of other initiatives which is in line with your business. But it's important to give back to your customer from time to time. At Christmas time we do calendars, but there's so many more options that we can discuss. It's also very important to view marketing cost as an investment rather than an expense. A lot of people think that it's an expense and they try to cut it when business is bad, but your marketing is what ultimately is going to improve your sale, help you to improve sales, and you have to take it seriously. Knowing your business, I think, knowing your products, and it's very important to take the time to assess what you're selling. And in that regard, it will help your business, to improve. If it's a good product, if it's a bad product, marketing essentially may not necessarily help you. So it's important to know that. You have to know all your strengths, how much you can produce, how much you can sell monthly, daily, and that will help to craft your marketing plan. You need to pay attention to your competition. It's very important. What are they selling? What kind of packaging they're using? What kind of branding they're doing, or what kind of promotions they're doing, to help you to again to assess and do your marketing plan. And more than anything else, you need to know your weaknesses, and that will help you to do your marketing campaign to help to promote and sell your product. Increasing your visibility. Everyone wants to get a lot out of a little, and we want to market our business and our products at the minimum amount of money and get the highest returns. So we'll take you through some of the important tools in the advertising toolbox. We have the conventional radio, newspaper ads. Now with DJs have become a big thing, so it's important to keep those guys in mind. There are a lot of new business card designs that are out that, I would advise anyone to look into. There's the QR codes now that you can add to your business card. So when someone scans it, it automatically uploads your information into their phone. You must, as a business, have an image out there that's positive. You need to have your letterheads, your receipt books. Your staff need to be, branded in some form of a uniform that is suitable for your business. There's always direct calls and networking. That's always been around. Your business needs to have a sign, a banner, a billboard. Something that I found interesting recently. There's a new fast food in my area, and they're a little off of the main road, and no one knows they're there because they're new and there's no directional sign. So my advice is always, if your business is not on a main thoroughfare, you need to put a directional sign. Someone passing may say you have a bakery, or you have a fast food outlet, or whatever it is you're selling. You need to have visible signage always. That's just how people are going to find you. Internally, your packaging of your product, it's very important. You need to have good, clean packaging with your logo, if possible, if you can afford it. And it helps you to build your brand and your identity in the customer's mind. People like to win, get giveaways and tokens. It's been around for a long time, and I always recommend it. Whenever you can, give back to your clients through whatever opportunities you can. Digital and electronic medium is now the way. Everyone is been spending a lot of time on Facebook. They've been promoting their business online, and it's great. It works. It has been proven to be successful. And one thing I would want to really emphasize on this is to pay attention to the quality of your graphic, quality of what you're posting. It's very important to take the time to look at the images that you're using. It's something that people, again, have not been very familiar with, but whether it's copyright or you're using somebody else's brand or logo in your imaging, when you're taking a picture to post for your business, are you using somebody else's brand, or is it in their picture? How do you match, make sure that it's clean and clear? It's very important when doing anything online. So we always tell our clients, think before you post, get a second opinion, proofread if you can, because once it gets out there, it's very difficult to pull it back. And it's why we stress a lot about on using, and whether it's a graphic designer or a proofreader, it's very important to take the time to do that. WhatsApp has been a great way of connecting with clients, and we do use it. Everyone is using it right now. But once you're going to be sending anything out digitally, I want to really recommend to take the time to think about it and be clear about what you're posting. Promotions and alliances. This has always been a good way of selling your product, selling your business, by forming alliances with suppliers and producers that you're already doing business with. I know someone touched on it before, but going a little deeper, we want to just give you some ideas. If you own a restaurant, you want to maybe form an alliance with a beverage producer, offer a free beverage with your meal, and things like that. You must. It helps when you form that alliance, because remember, big companies that also have an advertising and marketing campaign, And a lot of times they are more than happy to bring you along with whatever they're doing. So if there's a beverage promotion and they will say to the public, you know, if you go to this and this restaurant, you can get a free beverage along with every meal you purchase. So it also cuts your advertising spend when you partner with other companies who are supplying you or you're in partnership with. Build your brand. It's an important part of what we need to focus on in today's marketing world. Your brand, it's yours. You're your number one fan, and you know your brand is what it's your identity, and it goes along with you. It gets stronger and better every day, and you're investing in it as you spend in marketing and advertising. So you also have to keep a close eye on what you're doing. I want to show some brands that we've worked with, and these brands have been doing a great job of one, their logo and their design are very simple. It's important to note that it's not complicated. They're not busy. It's not a lot of color. It's their logo is very simple. You could identify it. It's also helpful because when it's simple, because it's easy to use on a pen when you're doing a T-shirt or a simple, let's say, a bumper sticker or anything like that. Once your logo is simple, then it works well for the printers or the guys who are going to be using it on different mediums. So another thing with noteworthy brands, they go the further mile to when you're interacting with you. So when you let's say go to Metro and you buy a product, your experience is not only buying let's say a piece of stationery. You're leaving there with a receipt with their logo on it. You're leaving there, their staff are properly attired and they have their uniforms and their badges on, which has the logo. The sign outside is also the logo. You have a bag which carries the logo. So all of that branding and imagery is an investment in your brand that will carry forward. So when someone sees a particular brand, they'll be able to identify with it. And in that case, it makes your business stronger from a visibility point of view. An idea of a high impact plan. It's you know it's nice that people are promoting, let's say, on social media, but when you're doing a campaign or you're running a business, your marketing mix should always be a combination of many different things. In this example, I have direct calls to your clients. We have a social media campaign, which will probably have a flyer promoting whatever it is that you're selling. And you can also, it's always a great idea to tie in with, let's say, a popular radio DJ to maybe promote it or sample it and give some shout outs on what they think about it. And that endorsement goes a very far way. Those costs, by the way, are not very expensive to have your ad or your promotion done on radio. So a lot of times people may think, oh, you know, I don't have the budget for it, but it's not very expensive. You can have an in-store promotion, and when you tie all the other things in the social media, the DJ, direct calls to your clients, it helps to boost the awareness of your business and the products that you're promoting. So it's important to note that marketing and advertising has to be done using a mixture of many strategies. It's not one or the other. It should never be limited to, let's say, social media or just a billboard or just a sign or a radio ad. We have clients who have always taken the time to work with us to do a mix of all the aforementioned areas. So having a high impact plan is not very difficult. Once you know what the products that you have and you want to sell, I think it's important to just sit and analyze what you want to, how much you want to sell first and foremost. And once you've identified it, then we can go into coming up with a plan for that. As I mentioned before, plans can be a mix and match of so many different so many different things, strategies that we can come up with for you to promote and make your company and your product visible. It's also good to note that that radio and let's say news agencies are also very willing many times to come and do an interview at your place of business, and that is also more or less free marketing. They can write a story on you. The news can do a story on a promotion that you have if you engage them. So these are many ideas, and there are many more once you've put the systems in place. So this is a chance for us to discuss any questions that you have.
Hey, thanks, Riyad, for that well-constructed presentation. One of my concerns, though, as a small business owner, someone that may be currently struggling with the budget to keep their business going, how, without releasing too much of your industry secrets, what are some of the things you would suggest they do in terms of improving on their marketing now so that they can be able to grow?
Well, this is a great opportunity. You know, we're all in a kind of a reset mode. And one of the first things I would say is to look at your existing branding and your existing advertising setup. Why I show a lot of the logos before is a lot of times people will come up with a designer logo and it's not easy to recognize or to use. So as we are all rebuilding in this period, I would first start by saying, take a look at what you have. And then it's a great time to reset and redo, rebuild, redesign your logo and your company image. Start there as you look at your customer service and the internal things, even as the speaker before mentioned. But we have to start there. It's a lot. It makes no sense spending a whole lot of money on a marketing campaign and the structure of your presentation is not done correctly. So we start there, and then once that is correct and clear, then we can go into simple things like we're offering free designs right now for any clients who want to promote their business. And you need to engage a graphic designer to come up with things to help to sell your product and your business. There are also free sites online that you can do designing on, which will allow you to come up with something on your own if you have that kind of flair or taste. But starting there, and then as we know, Facebook and Instagram, these are free. It's important to use those, but picking up the phone and calling your clients, it's the simplest way sometimes of engaging them, letting them know you're available, what you're offering. You may be closed, but it doesn't mean that you can't sell or deliver. I had an important interaction with a client, and one of the things we discussed was you can have a partnership with a delivery company, and when you offer either free or discount or reduced delivery, but in that you can also, or a good idea would be to partner and have them wear your brand or your logo on their shirt, or have it on their delivery bike or delivery car. So wherever they go, your brand goes along with it, and it helps to further promote you. And these things that don't cost anything when you partner with delivery services, as I would imagine.
Great. Now that everybody is home, less trafficking, less persons moving around and so forth, do you think it would be a wise idea now to increase on marketing efforts?
You need to. How you do it that's the kind of conversation you need to have with specialists. There's no one rule or one formula that works for anyone, because every company has a different product they're selling, and the methodology needs to be there. No, a simple thing to do is to probably do your marketing in your community. Share out business cards or flyers in your neighborhood to customers who may not have been your customers before, and that's an inexpensive way. So yes, you need to market. You always have to continue to build your brand. It's an investment in the future. By the time this is over, a lot of persons must and should know about you who haven't known about you, but it gives us a chance to reset.
Great. Thanks again, Mr. Boyce, for all these wonderful tidbits. And guys, do make use of some of those free options available at Sonic Business Services. They're helping small businesses in this time to really develop on their branding and restructure. We're in a time of rebuilding, as we're gonna look at what are added opportunities available to us. Let's make use of these opportunities. Thanks again, Mr. Boyce, for your presentation.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I just want to leave this one. I saw this on the internet and I thought it was very, very nice. It says we are not stuck at home, we are safe at home. when we change our thinking, everything changes. The world is closed for renovation. The grand opening is soon. So what are we doing during this period?
Yes, it's time to renovate. Best time.
It is. And thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you. You know, as you would have noticed, we're taking this thing in structures. We started off speaking about those opportunities that are available, where you can go to leverage your business to make use of opportunities available to you, how to maximize on the things that you have currently, how to make the best use of those things that you have currently. Then we move in serving our customers and marketing. But guess what? It's not over, guys. It's only just the beginning. Because at this point, we will be joined by Sonia Forrester, who will be taking us through resilient leadership. How do we strive through change as leaders? You know, you're accustomed to doing things one way. We're accustomed to having our team in front of us, and we can simply look and see what they're doing. During these times, it's mind-boggling to think what our clients are doing, what our teammates are doing at home. So how do we serve them? How do we step up to the plate as leaders? Sonia Forrest is going to join us and take us through that aspect. Ms. Forrester?
Good afternoon, Richard. Thank you so much, and good afternoon to all of your listeners today. It's so great to join this conversation. I must commend the previous speakers. It has really been very informative for me, and I trust that as we continue to move forward, that we recognize how important it is that as leaders, that we demonstrate resilience in all that we are doing, especially for those whom we lead. So today I am really excited to talk about resilient leadership, how we can thrive through change. And Richard, you know, it was John Dewey who said that the person who really thinks learns quite as much from his failures as he does from his successes. Resiliency in our leadership is an invaluable tool, an invaluable concept that we always must think about as we lead others. Some of the things that, if you want to consider yourself resilient, some of the things that you would look out for is your self-esteem. Do you have a positive self-esteem? When you look yourself in the mirror at a time like this, are you saying, yes, I'm doing all that I can and I'm doing everything that I need to do? Additionally, are you hardened from your experiences? You're able to bounce back from the situations that you find yourself in. Do you have strong coping skills? Those skills that helps you to recognize when you're in a challenge, in a situation, and not bury your head in the sand like the ostrich would, but you're ready to recognize that in everything, there is an opportunity for you to grow. Additionally, are you optimistic? Even in the face of great despair, are you able to come out on top or to see the light at the end of that dark tunnel? Are you adaptable to the changes that you find yourself in and the situations that you recognize you need to make change and shifts in? Are you a risk taker? Do you find that in the event that something is happening, you are willing to take the challenge, to take the next step, to jump and build your wings on the way down, because to do nothing is not an option? Do you have a low fear of failure? You know, Richard, a resilient leader recognizes that the pathway to his success is through failure. And so what we have to do as leaders who are building our resiliency is to look at ourselves and say, am I willing to fail forward? You said it best a few hours ago. Am I willing to fail forward? To see these challenges as opportunities for growth and to look at obstacles as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. Are you determined, willing to persevere through difficulties and difficult times? And additionally, do you have a high tolerance for uncertainty? Because right now, we live in a world that might be riddled with uncertainty. We don't know where our business is going to go in the next month. We don't know how this thing is going to play out. The the people who are studying this epidemic or pandemic, they don't know how it's going to play out. Are you willing to move forward regardless? I want you to think about yourself holding a ball, and you have this ball in your hand, and you're throwing this ball against a wall. This wall is about 2 meters away from you. And as you build momentum, you begin to throw the ball harder against the wall. What you will recognize is that the harder you throw that ball against the wall, the faster it's going to bounce back at you. And that, my dear friends, is what resiliency is. In leadership, it speaks of our ability to cope with a crisis and to return to pre-crisis status quickly. When we are resilient, we are able to bounce back from adversity, frustration, misfortune, failure quickly, because we recognize that it is a necessary part of our success. But let's not get sidetracked. What we are talking about today is resiliency in your leadership. And as John Maxwell says, everything rises and falls on leadership. So it's not just about your ability, ladies and gentlemen, to bounce back from a challenging situation, but it's also your ability to lead your team so that they can bounce back from a challenging situation. It's about how do you, as a leader, show up for the people you're leading so that at the end of the day, you're all going to come through it together on the other side. If you're thinking about whether you're a resilient leader, then there are 4 characteristics that authors usually talk about when they're examining this. The first thing is that what is your approach to problem solving? Are you one of those people who you're very reactive to the problem solving? So we have known about this virus in our country now for a month or a month and a half. How have you been leading your business through this time? Are you the kind of leader who, when you come up against a challenge, you're looking for someone to blame and you're looking for excuses that can be made? Or are you taking responsibility and saying that I have got to do something to help my team through this? The second one is your tendency to perceive situation and experiences in a positive light. Are you a complainer? Do you always look for, oh my God, what is wrong with this situation and what is wrong with this world? Or are you looking to see, despite the challenges that I find myself in, what can I learn? How am I growing? How am I getting better? Or can I get better because of this experience? And thirdly, because your leadership is about influence, are you able to bring people to a positive place, to help them to focus their attention positively? Are you one of those people who are contributing to the negative side of the situation and blowing that up so that it becomes all that we see? Or are you the kind of leader who is able to focus his people on the things that we can do, the positive in this situation? Now, I am not in any way trying to downplay the devastating effect of a crisis or a pressing problem or some frustrating adversity that you might experience. But what I'm saying is that your mindset matters. And thirdly, do you have faith in the future? That is my 4th point. Do you have faith in the future? Because as a leader, you have got to carry the vision. You've got to help your people to look beyond your current circumstances and situation and see the vision that you have painted for them. And if you have painted nothing, then they're not going to know where to go. So as a leader, our 4th characteristic that must be central in order for us to stand up resiliently is that we have got to believe that life has meaning and that beyond any pressing situation or any adversity or any crisis, there is a life. So breathe life into those situations, because in a crisis, the crisis shows the leader up. How are you showing up for the people that you lead? The second part of my message was to talk to you about thriving through change. Now, when we are talking about thriving, it's more than just surviving an experience. It is how you recover from that experience. Thriving usually refers to your ability to go beyond your original or current state of functioning. It is how you grow through the experience. You see, if you just make it to the other side, then hooray for you. But you would have thrived if the person you were when you went into that adversity is you are 10%, 100%, 15, 20, 25% better on the other side. And you as a leader, you are able to bring your people through those stressful experiences so that they too can be better on the other side. So today we have heard a lot from many speakers in their area of expertise. How quickly are you able to adapt those strategies and ideas so that your business can thrive through this crisis? To go through or to get through any experience and at the end of the day, say that you have thrived through it, you have grown through the change, we are forced to learn something that we hadn't known we would need to know. We are forced to learn new things, to gain new skills, and to have enhanced knowledge. Take, for instance, how many of you knew how to operate Zoom prior to this experience? How many of you knew how to be online and to operate the Facebook marketing or all of these things? You had to adapt, you had to grow, you had to change. And now you have an actual skill that you can transfer to others. You know that as a resilient leader, you have thrived through the change when you recognize that you have gained skills and knowledge that can serve you in the future, that can make you and your business better and stronger in the future. As leaders, we are naturally active. Now is the time for you to remain active. And that is one of the ways in which you can do it. Focus your attention on your people because your people are the most important. Seek to communicate with them, to consult with them, and most of all, to send through the way you behave that you care about them. Your people need you to rise up and to show up because you might be the only strong thing they know, and they're depending on you. You see, in a crisis, we are inclined to think about how am I going to get through this? How is my business going to survive this? But I tell you, an investment right now at a time like this in your people is one of the best investments you can make as a business. Because as a leader, everything rises and falls on your leadership. There is an accelerated rate of change in the world that we live in today. And there needs to be an accelerated rate of change in how we develop ourselves and our people as we develop future leaders. Because a change such as the one we might be experiencing right now can be disruptive. It can disrupt our sense of balance. And most importantly, it can present challenges that we did not recognize we would be faced with. But additionally, it presents opportunities. And personally, I have encountered so many opportunities in this present crisis. And I urge you as fellow leaders, as business owners, as people whose action influence largely those they lead, that you get on board and recognize that you can bring about change, that there is opportunity for you to adapt, for you to grow, and for you to shift. Become resilient. Because if I bury a seed in the ground, the seed by its very nature will find a way to push through that adversity so that its seedlings can see the light of day. By its very nature. And as a people, we by our very nature were made to thrive. We were built for resiliency. As a people, we were made to grow, to learn, to adapt, to re-enter, and to thrive. So tonight, I encourage you, recognize that as a resilient leader who wants his business or her people to thrive through this change, you have got to make the shift. Bob Marley said it. I never knew how strong I was until strong was all I had to be. And right now, Your people are depending on you to be strong, to be resilient, to bounce back quickly. Richard, I really hope that the persons who are on this call today are making copious notes as it relates to how they can get their business to bounce back, because we have heard from amazing speakers on the things that we can do so that our business thrives through this change. And I trust that this initiative gives them a push in the right direction. And I thank you so much for my time on this forum. I'm open to any questions that any person might have for me at this time.
All right, thanks a lot, Mrs. Forrester, and I agree. As leaders, we really need to make the best, and most times you find as leaders, we often bounce back from those challenges that we're facing. I really would encourage our audience to share your questions in the chat so we can engage the speakers as well with your questions so they can answer to those things that are bothering you at this point. Sonia, however, what would you say to these small business leaders who have a team to lead, but sometimes you just don't know how? What advice do you have to give to those people?
Thank you. That's an amazing question, Richard. And it's very pertinent to the time that we live in. Because people think that because you have a position, that makes you a leader. But actually, as I said, and as John Maxwell puts it, leadership is influence. And one of the major things that you can recognize is that your followers, they just want three things from you. They want to know, first of all, can I trust you? Can I trust you? If you say to me as one of your team members that because of the situation we are in, I need to send you home for 2 weeks without pay, can I trust that you're doing this because you have no other choice? Or are you just doing this to protect your own investment and your own interests? Can I trust you? So we have an opportunity right now as small business owners to demonstrate to our people that they can trust us. The second thing they want to know is, can you take me through this? Can you take me through this? Can I rely on you to be there to share the relevant information with me, to think up new ways of how we can reach our target market, how we can reach our customers, how we can grow and thrive in this business? And finally, your followers want to know, do you care about me? Yes, I know you care about the business. I know you care that I put in my hours. I know you care about that, but do you care about me? And we can show and demonstrate that we care about our people by just ensuring that we reach out to them, that we find out how they're doing, that we communicate with them, that we share relevant information with them, that we point them in the right direction to those online learning so that they can learn and grow through this experience. So as a small business owner, you lead your people through influence. Show them that you trust them. Show them that you can get them through this crisis, and show them that you care. Richard.
Thanks. I was once told, Sonia, if you are thinking of becoming a leader, the first thing you should think of, would you as an individual follow you? For those leaders who don't have an answer to that question, what pointers do you think you'd like to share with them?
Yes, thank you. That is also an interesting question. Would I follow me? There is this concept of fly. First, lead yourself. First, lead yourself. And leadership is, unlike management, leadership is an attitude. It is an attitude. And today I talked about having a positive attitude. I talked about ensuring that your mindset is one that will take you closer to your goals rather than have you stagnated. So if your answer to the question, would I follow me as a leader, is uncertain, then think in your life, how are you leading yourself through the different challenges and situations that you come across? What are your values? What are the things that you hold dear? Are you integrous in your business dealings? Are you honest with your people? Those are some of the values that stands out to me as a leader. And so I feel like if we can first lead ourselves and we examine how we're leading ourselves, then the answer to would I follow me as a leader becomes very, very easy.
Thank you very much, Ms. Forrester. I think those were some wonderful learning points. And we can all agree that you really took us to that place where we need to be in this time. We know it's frustrating, and sometimes you need that little boost to say, well, yes, this is the track. Just get off that and get onto this, Jackie. And you really hit those points in this afternoon. We thank you very much for your sharing.
Thank you. Thank you for your time as well. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you. All right, guys. Like I said, lots of wonderful information, lots of useful tidbits. As business owners, you just need to take away at least one thing from each speaker. And you would not be discouraged by the changes you'll be able to make in your business, in your company, in your organization. If you just take one change from each speaker. But guess what? We're not done as yet. Now we have Miss Lindy. Miss Lindy is going to talk to us about managing while planning for the future. You know, we're accustomed to manage our office and our people for now and what they have to do. Miss Lindy is going to take us through what we should be doing as we project, as we manage for the future. Miss Lindy has been a CEO for one of the largest office supplies company in Guyana for quite some time now. And one of the things I love is that she's one of the learning leaders. She never gave up the opportunity to learn something new and to share her knowledge. After moving to Georgetown, within my first 2 months, I believe, I was a part of a session that she co-facilitated. And I can tell from then I've been a follower of her works. So I'll just leave the floor to Ms. Lindy to take you through managing now while planning for the future.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be a part of this business summit. I'd like to commend all the speakers that spoke before me. In fact, you made my job a lot easier because you covered lots of information that I have in my presentation. So it seems like we have a synergy going on this evening. I know Sonia left an important charge with us when she went off a moment ago. So this afternoon, I'm gonna basically be practical. I'm gonna tell you about what our company did to deal with COVID-19, what we're doing now, and what we plan to do in the future. So I was tasked this evening with speaking to you on managing now while planning for the future. My name is Ave Lindy. I'm the CEO of Metro Office and Computer Supplies. I wear a couple of hats. I've shared some information on the screen. You can read it. No need for me to go through it. I have extensive knowledge in retail business. I was a travel agent. I was a teacher. I'm part of an NGO. I'm a Rotarian, and the list goes on. But most importantly, I'm a mother of 4. And my leadership experiments are done at home. That's where I start. So basically, how Metro prepared to deal with the challenges we're facing now. First and foremost, what we did is that we created an emergency response plan, and I'm sharing with you our playbook. We created an emergency response plan, and this started since in early March because for those of you who are familiar with politics in Guyana, we know that anytime we have any elections, there's always it shouldn't be that way, but it's unpredictable. So what we did is more or less create an emergency response plan to take us through the elections period. And what we did, we designed the plan, we sat down as a management team, and we shared ideas as to how we'll go about dealing with the elections period. First of all, we had a management meeting, as I said. We did geographic zoning to account for every member of our team, and our team has 52 persons. And of course, we have persons living on the East Coast, the East Bank, Georgetown. We have a branch in Berbice. So we wanted to be able to distinguish who can get to work and who would not be able to get to work if there was unrest in our country. So what was important for us and remains the hallmark of what we do is safety first. Safety for our team, safety for our customers, safety for our collaborating partners. We came up with a plan regarding transportation. We wanted to establish transportation protocols. We wanted to know, decide, well, those who have vehicles, how we can carpool, those who we can pick up for work, those team members we can take back home. So we wanted to be able to ensure that not just those of us who have vehicles and that, we can get to work, that we are not concerned about our other team members. So we wanted to ensure that they were all taken care of and accounted for. We looked at safe locations for our staff as to decide, we distinguish which locations we'll operate because we were a business with several locations. And we wanted to have more of a synergy in terms of there was an emergency. We wanted to ensure we account for everyone and we have them all in one place so that we can disperse and get everybody home safely. We identified which members of our management team will secure our locations. We also thought about signage. So we wanted not to just close our business and not inform the public as to what is actually happening. Someone may show up because they know our regular business hours is 8 to 4:30. And if we were to close abruptly, we wanted to be able to inform our customers as to what is happening next. In our emergency plan, we looked at delivery protocols. We looked at our communication plan in terms of written and verbal communication. So of course, when the management team met, following, we had to disseminate this information to the remainder of the team. So we also had meetings, and then we also would have formal correspondence that we'll share via the form of memorandum. The second phase of our plan, and this was during the election period, is that we went to a staff reduction because of course there was some unrest during that time, and it was difficult for persons to get from the East Coast to Georgetown. And also if you were living on the West Coast of Berbice, there were difficulties getting from West Coast Berbice to New Amsterdam. So we reduced our staff complement to about 56%. We also did early closures, and we worked with skeleton staff at the Georgetown locations, and that was a strategy in order to ensure that we didn't put our staff in harm's way and just for the benefit of the business or for the business to profit. What we also did in our third phase of our emergency response plan, at this stage, this is around March 13, 12th and 13th, because we had our first case of COVID in Guyana on March 11th. So what we did was to pull out that playbook and modified it to suit the new circumstances that we were facing with. And in this case, we prepared a workplace response preparedness policy draft. And in the draft, it included stuff about, we dealt with introduction and symptoms of the coronavirus so we can inform our people how it is spread, basic prevention measures, guidelines preparing workplace for COVID-19. We looked at identification and reporting protocols for sick employees. We didn't want persons to show up if they had the common cold and stuff like that. We also looked at engineering administrative controls. And if you look on at my slide that I have on the screen, and this is an aspect of health, safety, security, and the environment. This is called a hierarchy of controls. So at the bottom of this hierarchy, it's your personal protective equipment. So we know that this is COVID season, and at some point we'll have to use where we developed a system where we had to use masks. Initially, we were just saying social distancing and washing hands using sanitizers and stuff. But we eventually escalated to the point where we had to wear masks. So that's where the PPE comes in. The next level of control is your administrative control. And the third level will be your engineering control. But of course, in the case of COVID, we don't have a vaccine. There's still a lot we don't know about this pandemic. So of course, we could not get to where we're not at the top of the hierarchy as yet. When we get a vaccine and we're able to test it and ensure that we can contain this virus, then that will take us up to the top of the hierarchy, which is elimination, which would be getting rid of the virus or minimizing it. Our phase 4 of our plan, we dealt with staff rotation, remote work, and quarantine. It's unfortunate, but we had 2 staff members who lived in Good Hope, where the first case was detected. So as a precautionary measure, we had those staff, we asked them to, to remain at home so they could be protected, and also their families as well as the wider society. So that was our stage 4 of our plan.
Miss Lindy, you have muted yourself. Could you?
Sorry about that. Now, phase 5 of our emergency response plan dealt with business continuity. It means that in view of COVID-19 and all the gazetted orders that were passed, of course, we had to put measures in place, and we looked at the business in totality. We looked at the 4 pillars, which is how are we going to deal with accounting? How are we going to deal with deposits? How are we going to deal with inventory management? How do we deal with operations, marketing, and sales? How do our human resource department function? And how do we handle projects that we have ongoing? And as you notice, what we did, we created information in which when we went to the total closure, because we were not listed as an essential business, and as you know, we offer a product and a service. So if you wanted to copy plans, it has to be done in a physical space. So what we implemented was an emergency request, bulk order and pre-order strategy, where you can call in. We used WhatsApp, we used Facebook, and we had persons manning those lines. We even had mobile numbers we implemented so people can make contact with us. Of course, our accounting functions, because we have online banking, we're able to do lots of our transactions electronically, payroll, transfers, receiving payments from suppliers, from customers, those all can be done electronically. Inventory management, because we have several locations, we were able to leverage the multi-store location. So it means that we can move inventory from one place to the other. We also had a virtual private network set up, as Ryan spoke about earlier. And regarding operations, well, of course, I mentioned the email orders, and we decided that we were going to fill orders on a specific day. So we opened from 9 to 12 on Thursdays only for delivery and pickup. On the marketing and sales, well, of course, we use social media, and our strategic human resource management, we use Zoom for meetings. We have online training sessions. We brought in experts to speak to our staff about COVID, about health, safety, security, and the environment. We have daily interactions with them on WhatsApp, and they have to share their takeaways. So we try to ensure that we keep our staff engaged during this time. And of course, we still had projects that we're running. So basically, we had 2 projects: health, safety, and security policy, which we did this in collaboration with the Center for Learning and Business Development. And this was completed on target. And I should give kudos to the HR department for that. And of course, we're also pursuing our ISO status. So we're also working on the quality manual. Now, planning for the future, our next normal, as I'd like to call it. This requires, obviously, we have We're meeting on Zoom every day. Our management team meets on Zoom along with our team members. So we have like a working room on Zoom. We also had to establish communication guidelines, which I have on the screen. You have to know the type of communication and during communication hours and outside of the communication hours. Because we have employees that have children at home and you don't want to have them feel pressured. What's important is that they get whatever they're required to get done and you don't have to be breathing on anyone's neck. So we had a work from home policy. We did communication guidelines. We dealt with physical and mental health, nutrition and exercise, and continuous professional development. Planning for the future also entailed e-commerce and remodeling of our workspace. And as Rayad mentioned earlier and some of the other speakers, that now is a time that you can either upgrade your web page and or change your business model more or less for one that is more suited for the environment or the challenges we're facing right now. And we have started to do that. We've installed sinks. We're in the process of installing markings on our floors, and we've ensuring that our staff are properly attired in their PPEs. And we're preparing for when we have to come out back for work. And that's what we're basically doing, because it's important for you to prepare. There's a saying that I was taught as a child, to fail to prepare is to prepare to fail. And in my final slide, I'd like to quote what Richard Branson said. He said, take care of your employees and they'll take care of your business. And as Sonia reiterated, the best investment you can make right now is in your employees. And so far we've managed to maintain all 52 members of our team, and we've paid them because we realize they're our most valuable resource and we will need them when we get to the next normal. And most importantly, it's important that safety comes first. I know that sometimes we play that down in Guyana. We're not very conscious of safety, but now we have no other choice. But this is something that we have to eat and breathe and live. And I'd like to admonish everyone to adhere to the COVID guidelines and to stay safe. And I thank you all for this opportunity, and I yield my time for any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lindy. I think everyone on the call will agree with me when we said this was a well-phased, well-implemented plan by Team Metro. And I applaud you for the wonderful work that you guys are continuing to do down there. One of the questions I'd like to ask is for the managers who may have a younger team and would like to implement some of these steps that you would have put in place for your company. What advice would you give to a smaller size business that would like to put some preventative measures in place?
That's a great question, Richard. You may have a small business, so it makes it even easier for you to implement these measures. In fact, because of the nature of your business, let's say, for instance, it's your business and you're offering training and consultancy and stuff like that. It's easy for you to do that because remember, you're not like a retail business where you have a space that was not designed to deal with a pandemic where people have to be 6 feet apart. And you don't have to face the challenges of someone like our company having 50-something people, and you're going back into the next normal, and you may not be able to have everyone out at the same time because it would not be safe. And of course, you don't want to abandon your team. So what I would recommend is that you can rotate staff. It means that there are some members of the team who can work remotely who may not have to, let's say you have someone coming in to register or bring payments. So you would definitely need to have the accounts person on site, but you can rotate between, let's say, the accounts person and your receptionist if you have one, or your customer service person who are manning your phones. You can rotate between these persons so everybody gets to work and you don't have to lay them off. And of course, if you're cash strapped, they will obviously understand and they'll appreciate that you did not abandon them. So even if they had to take a pay cut, they'll take it.
Okay. Thanks again, Ms. Lindy, and wonderful presentation. Guys, this afternoon, today's proceeding, I think many of you can say that it has been phenomenal. We've had a wonderful mixture of great presentation of bits and pieces that we can take and really propel our business. Move things forward while we adjust to the new normal. And as Ms. Lindy just covered, it makes no sense we sit, relax, and wait. Let's act now as we prepare our businesses, our company for that new normal. Of all the stuff we've went through this evening, it's only fair that we realize understand how we must strategize. And at this point, we'll have Mr. Demis John. Demis John is the CEO for UMass Consulting, Inc. That's a consulting company that actually operates throughout the three Guyanas and in a few Caribbean territories. He will take us through strategy during crisis, strategy in a time of crisis. Mr. Demis John. Demis, good afternoon, and thank you for taking the time to join us this evening.
Yes, good afternoon, all. I just joined in, so I missed quite a bit. I heard some of the Mrs. Lindy's presentation. I have not prepared because I only have, I guess, 10 to 15 minutes. So basically, I'm gonna just talk through the COVID-19 situation in Suriname, and also the situation as a consultant. Tell you about what we are doing here in management consulting and mostly strategic management, basically with the company. As Richard said, we operate in Guyana. We also do some business in French Guiana, and we've done some consulting in other Caribbean territories. Basically, I'm Dutch, Surinamese, and I do strategic management, and also we do other types of business consulting also, and training and so on. The COVID-19 situation as of today is that we have no active cases. For the past couple of weeks, we've not had any active cases. We've had 10 in total, of which 1 died. So as of, I guess it was last Monday, the government eased the lockdown. The lockdown was from 8 o'clock until 6 o'clock in the morning. And now the lockdown is from 11 p.m. until 5 p.m. 5 a.m. And they increased the number of people that can be together with each other, and that is up from 10 to 50. The buses are still not functioning, and the schools are still closed. So in Suriname, I guess we've been lucky, and but businesses have been really hard hit with COVID-19. I think that some businesses already were in crisis mode before the COVID-19 crisis because of economic crisis in Suriname, and also because of the elections that were coming. So they already had some crisis management in place. If we're going to look at some different aspects that I look in when I talk to companies about crisis, and it's basically the way we look at this interaction of microeconomic systems, where a crisis is when you have actual and required enterprise productivity capacity, which we can see in Suriname at a lot of the agricultural businesses, where they have a lot of, they produce a lot, and the problem is they cannot sell it. So this also required volume of resources that is too much. So they have an overcapacity because they cannot export, and the restaurants were closed. Some of them are now opening up. So even though we had our exchange rate in the past months went from 7.5, and as of today, 7.5 SRD was $1. That was about a month or two ago. And as of today is 18. So we had an inflation of our currency of 50% or more even. So 100% inflation, more than 100% inflation over the past couple of months. So even though you've seen this big inflation, the price of agricultural goods have gone down a lot. So basically, when you used to pay the equivalent of $1 for produce, you're paying the equivalent of 30 cents for the same, or even less for the same product. So businesses are suffering because of that part when you look at actual and required enterprise productive capacity. Then you have another thing, which is required volume of resources, which the enterprise needs, and the availability of its output supply. We spoke about that. And then you also have the actual and planned enterprise revenue distribution. And that's basically geared towards industrial and social development. So in the businesses that we've worked with, we have seen that one big problem, I think Ms. Lindy spoke about HR. They have reduced people's salary with 50%, and also the inflation hit, and that's another. So basically your salary has gone down with 75% if you're working in SRD. But if we look at the distribution, most of the CEOs or management have a US dollar component in their salary. So they have not been hit hard. So in Suriname, we see all the three interaction of microeconomic systems that we regard as crisis. What we do, the first group, which includes a problem of prediction prior to the emergence of a crisis situation, that is what I spoke about and said that we have been in crisis mode because of the upcoming election. So there were some predictions of crisis, because that is, I guess, if you know strategic management, that is where you look at is the prediction prior to a situation happening. And COVID-19 is not a situation that anybody could have predicted and the implications. So I can say that when I look into companies, I can see they had not predicted such a situation. The second group of problems is connected to key aspects of the activity of the organization. The range of problems can be presented by differentiating the management techniques, which is the third problem set. So the third problem set includes time limitations, staff qualifications, methodology, and organization of solutions. If I look at the third problem set, which also ties into another set, which is conflict resolution and crisis strategic management. I don't have a lot of time, so I'm jumping in with all of this. But let me tell you just a little story to give you an example. I have been working with a private hospital, and because of the problem with information, how to give people the needed information and don't let them panic. We had people panicking, being afraid to go to work, being afraid to do basic things, and being overwhelmed with this situation. So that is one other problem group that we're looking at. I cannot go into much detail, but I still want to go into some of the measures in strategic crisis management that you can counteract the problems that
I believe we would have lost Demis for a bit, maybe a network issue. Let me try to get in contact with him. But as he was saying, in terms of strategy for businesses in this point, it's very integral for us to think ahead as we're planning our next steps. Yes, Demis, you're back with us.
Yes, so let me sum up, and then I just want to go with you into some discussions and talk about strategic planning and strategic management, because a lot of people have told me, you know, what is the strategic planning? You look at 2 years, at 1 year planning, and crisis management. And a lot of people told me, you know, it's not down to strategy at this moment. We have to survive first. I beg to differ, and I think we can go into some discussions about it. But so as I was saying, improve the quality of information. That's the first one. You basically can take some reaction with foresight about the crisis situation. As I said, Suriname has handled the crisis reasonably well. In Surinamese, we say "drink dresi waktu siki." I don't know how it's translated to English, but it means you start drinking your medicine while waiting for the illness. And we closed up our country and started putting crisis facilities, etc., in place. Just looking at how the crisis was being handled in different countries and taking the lessons learned, because we had the advantage of COVID-19 coming later to Suriname than to other countries. So that is one thing, having a quick reaction. And so it is information analysis. You need to do urgent information analysis. Realize strategic planning. That's the most important factor for stability and corporate development condition of dynamic changes in the external environment. So the effectiveness of a strategy determines the appropriate external characteristics of a corporation. Its position in the market, but overall in the external environment. So keeping the focus on the realizing strategic planning is one thing that needs to be done. And what I've seen is that a lot of companies some companies have thrived in the COVID-19 crisis. Others have adapted. So I have seen a lot of adaptation, and so I'll give some examples later on when we talk about the different companies that have really started looking at which parts of my strategic planning can I still hold on to, and what do I need to change up. So another thing, the fourth one is raise the quality of common decisions. So organize discussions of problems and take into account all points of view. So that is basically to decrease the probability of the leader acting alone. In times of crisis, sometimes you think that you really need to make a quick decision. But to be honest, this crisis is on so many levels where we're looking at social safety, a social crisis, safety, and different other aspects that you as a leader cannot go at it alone, because the information that's coming, it's so fast, and the changes that are happening are very large. So you need more people to sit down and discuss the problems. So the measures for crisis management in directions of, let's say, financial economic activity, the culture of strategic management, which you spoke about, the monitoring of internal and external environments, which is very key, is that you have up-to-date data, which means that if we're looking at IT, that we need to factor in all the data. With one company now, we introduced a KPI where from day to day, we look at the cash flow. So cash flow prognosis is something that is very important now in a lot of companies. So with some companies, or at least with one, we're monitoring a KPI for cash flow on a daily basis. And we have measures in place that when it reaches 1.3 or 1.5 or whatever number that you can put in, that we have a management meeting to see what can be done. Basically, I want to conclude, and because I think I spoke a lot already, I want to conclude with some strategic methods and tactical methods in crisis management. If we're looking at strategic methods that we spoke about, liquidation, creation of new corporate structures, you could look at modernization, which is what's happening throughout businesses in Suriname. And I'm not only talking about going online and working from home, but we have had a very rapid increase in the use of mobile payment systems. And it's not only modernization of the companies, but the general public is more open and susceptible to it. Diversification, we've seen that with our rum company, and so they started producing hand sanitizer because they're also not selling a lot of alcohol right at this moment. Restaurants are closed, so that is a problem. Restructuring and re-engineering. I know it's a lot to take in for you guys, so basically if we can have a moment and talk about some of the points. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Mr. John. Yes, indeed. In this time, there's a lot that we need to take in. And when we're considering how we re-strategize in our business, we really need to look at all of the options that are available. What would you say are some of the key importance for strategic management, especially in this time of crisis?
So you're talking about strategic methods with this crisis. I think if you take, I would say creation of new corporate structures, which should be more inclusive and have a larger team making more decisions. The second one would be modernization, as I spoke about. And I think the third one would be diversification. But again, depending on what company it is. I did some strategic management with different companies where we said, all right, this is our basic business model, and this is how we make money. And what we did was look at 50 other business models from different companies, and with a group of 6, we let everybody take about 5 to 10 different business models and look at the business model of the company and say, this is how we can either modernize or restructure or re-engineer and implement this business model into our model. So that is one thing that I would say that helps. Don't be stuck in your ways. Look at other business models. People have done it already. You don't have to go invent anything new, but go at it as a team. I think that might be the most important one also. Go at it as a team.
What advice would you give to small business owners who haven't really thought of having a strategic plan in place for their business? Probably one of these 1-2 employee kind of businesses. What advice would you give to those business owners?
I would say, just give up. No, I'm just joking here. But what I'm saying is that a lot of small business owners, they do have a strategy. They might not have written down their strategy, but they do have one. They do have a plan. They do have a method of working. And you know, when I went and did my MBA, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. So when you go and do an MBA, you go to a European university, and they want you to unlearn listening to your instinct, basically, because you need a plan for everything. And I would say, as an entrepreneur, your instinct will help you a lot in this time of crisis. So also, one is listen to your instinct, and secondly, even if you're a small business, you have 2 employees or how many, or even if it's you alone, or you have 2 employees, as a leader also, I would say you have how do you call it in English? Let's say, let me go at something. You're made of mind, body, and soul. So as a leader, you're not only leading mind and body, you're also leading soul, and which is going to be important in this time of crisis. So, and with leading the soul, that means people have, your employees, your family, in this time also have a need to either pray together, or they have a need to give back to society. And so taking out 100 or 200 US dollars out of your pocket and donating it, I would rethink that and say, as I said, go at it as a team. So sit down with your employees, even if it's 2 or 3, and say, you know what, we don't have much money, but you know, I still want to help community, or I still want to help certain people. What do you suggest we do? What can we do together to help make the situation better for other people? In that way, also creating a more positive atmosphere of hope, and creating a more positive atmosphere as saying that, listen, guys, you know, we have it bad, but we can still help other people, and we will find solutions to the problems and the crisis that we have. So 2 things, as I said, be a very positive leader in all 3 aspects, and I would say trust your instinct. So these are 2. I think my professors will disagree with the instinct thing, but I say do that.
Great, Mr. John. Any parting words?
No, I just want to say I'm a very optimistic person. So let's say I take this crisis as it comes, because as you know, you should only worry. No, not only should worry, but if you're worrying 100%, 90% of that worrying cannot be done. You cannot spend that energy on things that you cannot change. So do it the other way around. Worry and put 10% of your energy in things that you cannot change, and 90% in things that you can change and things that you can influence. So, and basically you can influence people's lives, you can influence the way your business works and the way you and your positive outlook on life, on the world. That's it.
Thanks a lot for taking the time to impart your knowledge with us, Mr. John. And at this point, I must say thank you to all of our presenters this evening. I think they really did bestow upon us some wonderful learnings, things that we can really take back into our business and start making changes as early as today, if we're willing to do the work. So as business owners, as leaders, let us make the effort to make a positive change on the way forward. Within my organization, I can say one of the things that I'm doing currently in order to help small businesses. I would have reached out to a few persons, those 1 and 2 businesses, in terms of providing free mentoring sessions, free coaching sessions as well, for those persons who were struggling in developing their vision and moving forward or just feeling stuck currently. So that is how Orange Light has been putting their foot forward to assist fellow business owners. It's not taken a lot off of the company to provide free consultation to those persons in need. Sonic has indicated that what they're doing is they're providing free graphic services for small businesses to assist you with that logo design as you restructure. Seek out the opportunities available. Seek out those, as Hunt gave in the very first presentation. Seek out those opportunities available for your growth. Seek out persons that you can network with. As Demi said, no one is an island. We can't do it alone. And I've learned a while ago, while I was working with Gaisuku, preventative maintenance is very important. Do not wait for something to be broken to fix it. Seek out the opportunities now, seek out the things that you can fix. Create a learning mindset. I mean, most business owners believe this is how we've been doing things for decades. This is how we should continue to do the things because this is what has brought success. At this particular juncture where we are with the corona pandemic, we would have realized that some of those things may not be the best while we're adjusting to the new normal. Like we alluded to earlier, if Google can make changes in terms of now having their meeting room in Google, Facebook is doing similar. A company as large as SBT Japan, they're pivoting their services to provide alternative service. As SMEs, why are we sitting on our hands and not looking at what alternative services we can provide? I can say during this COVID period, the time that I would have been home, I would have been able to develop some of my weaknesses. One of the things I completely dislike doing, I probably hate it, a word that I really don't like using, is writing. I normally tell people the most writing you'll get out of me is when I'm preparing a report. And I took that challenge on to start a blog site where I'm now writing articles and posting a blog. And fun enough, recently started, and I've already started getting hits from India, England, across the globe. And persons are really in tune with what is being shared through those blogs. We all have talents. Within our businesses, there are some skills that we haven't tapped into as yet. Let's take this opportunity to tap into those skills. Guys, it was my pleasure hosting this event this evening. I really want to applaud the team for taking their time to share with you A special thank you to Ryan Prasad, who is our IT person behind the scene, making all of this seem very seamless and effortless as we continue to embrace the technologies that we're using and make the best use of reaching persons. At this point, I bid you adieu, and I do enjoy enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard. I will now close the stream. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was great being here.